This podcast is part of BritPod Scene, an independent network of uniquely British podcasts that's always growing. Check out BritPodScene.com or BritPodScene on Twitter to find out more.
The RAD Live podcast is intended for mature audiences and contains explicit language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi and welcome to this week's edition of RAD Live, Random Ass Discussion. I am your host Paul the Hat Guy Flinders, and joining me this week we have the lost one himself, Adam Cox.
Hello.
We have the pie and burger man. It's Alan Morrison.
That's racist, that is. Discriminating people who's obsessed with pies and burgers. How rude.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I said it lovingly.
Bullshit!
And finally this week we have the Scouse one himself, Lewis Ogden.
Hello, ladies.
So how's your week's been? Yeah, who wants to start?
I'll start.
Go on, Alan.
Alan's a piece of string.
I've had a week off.
He's had a week off? Jesus Christ, to give you a week off?
Yeah, I've had a week off, and it's been absolutely fecking beautiful.
Just, fecking beautiful?
Fecking beautiful.
Ooh, that's the best kind. So, what have you been up to then? What have you been doing to keep yourself busy? Well, to be fair, actually, we've been off the air since the pubcast, which was like the 22nd of December. So it's been...
just over 2 weeks.
Just over 2 weeks. It's been a week. It's been a month since we've done an actual normal show, which wasn't a pubcast. So it's been a while. So, what have you been up to since, obviously the pubcast?
Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas is Christmas, basically, yeah. You know,
Christmas shenanigans, New Year shenanigans, and a certain pay-per-view shenanigans. Yes,
which we will get into later. Very, very well. Not much later because it's going to be hopefully the first thing that we talk about this week. But Alan, you've said what you've been up to. Adam, what have you been up to, fella?
Trying to avoid this whatever cold you've got because you sound like shit at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not too clever at the minute. I mean, I've pardon the pun, I've sacked up and I was contemplating this morning whether I do go ahead with the show. Hence the lack of promotion. Because I've not been feeling too clever this week. I thought, do you know what, this morning, sod it, I am actually going to do it. So, obviously, I put the post out this morning saying, look, we are doing a show. And I'll say this morning I felt worse than I do now. It's my throat's the worst thing at the minute. I mean, at times I sound like fucking Barry White, but, other than that, I don't feel too bad. So, yeah, but my voice is a bit iffy. So if you do hear me coughing or sniffing, it's because I've got the Blackpool version of man flu, which is basically, you need to be quarantined. So it's just one of them.
Listen.
What?
No one cares.
I was gonna say, Paul, when you were just like, I wasn't feeling too clever, really. I was sort of like, how is that different from any other day?
I was wondering why my IQ level was so low.
Well, you needn't wonder no more.
Indeed. It's them Blackpool genes, that's what it is.
So, yeah.
For Wranglers myself.
But
I did Christmas and New Year. That was its usual.
Yeah, usual shit.
Yeah, worked it in between, but I got New Year off. Result.
Nice.
And then I was back away from the 2nd, and I had yesterday off.
That's not too bad.
And I'm back in I'm in tomorrow and Monday, and I'm off Tuesday.
Ooh.
So
what time are you in the morning? Hopefully we don't keep the podcast going for too long.
Well, I'm normally in at 8, so.
All right, we'll finish at 7 in the morning then. That's fine.
Hang on, Lewis. What time do you normally start work at?
I believe my alarm's due to go off tomorrow morning at 20 to 5.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The
6 for me.
What comes to mind now? It's fuck that noise.
Yeah.
Just the noise,
the noise in general would be the alarm clock would be getting thrown at the wall. So yeah, it's not happening.
No, that's when you throw the wall, you go, shit, I'm my phone.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, though. People don't use alarm clocks anymore. It's all lined up alarms on your phone now, isn't it? You see screenshots and it's like 6 different alarms back to back.
No, I have 2 alarm clocks outside of my bed. One's a DAB radio, and one alarm clock I've had since, God, when did I first start working? I was 16. And this thing is held together by gaffer tape, masking tape, super glue, and the battery's wedged in with a piece of better plastic just to keep it intact. So I've thrown it that hard against the wall so many times. Fantastic. But I can't get rid of it because it's the world's greatest alarm clock. If it can survive a battering, it's worth keeping.
It's not one of them ones you get from the pound shop, is it? No, them travel alarm clocks.
God, no. I think I got it from Argos back in 2001. Oh,
back in the day when you used to look in the Argos catalogue and you used to have alarm clocks that looked like Homer Simpson and stuff like that, and Bart Simpson, things like that.
Yeah, it's just a little black one, and it's analog, so the hour hands and the minute hands glow in the dark.
Nice.
That's it. So it's one of those. It's a light reactive, not actual, LEDs or anything like that.
So as it goes dark, it illuminates all by itself.
All by itself.
Oh,
God,
clever, isn't it? 90s technology for you.
World's greatest alarm clock it was.
That's the thing about 90s tech. It lasts even till today. I mean, you never hear of PS2s and even 2000s, but PS1s. Very rarely hear people going, "Oh, they break down." As soon as you get to the next generation, Xbox 360, Red Ring of Death.
Oh no! My PS1 broke down, and I was gutted about it.
Yeah, mine did actually. To be fair,
it was only the lid that snapped. But if you actually wedged it with something on the actual button that indicates the lid's gone down, it still worked.
See, that happened to one of my PlayStations. I did. I remember having the disc up, and remember you used to have the old cheat sort of cartridge that you put in the back of the machine that also doubled up as actual bypassing the copyright protection on the discs.
Exactly.
And we had that. You obviously had the spring inside that caught inside the little pin that was in the top of the lid, and it went into the button, as you know, and that enabled you to open it up but still have the button pressed down. Now I was being late. I was being a lazy shit and decided to play it with the disc drawer up, which was a big mistake because I had the machine on the floor. And my brother decided he wanted to go out the room to get something, I don't know what. And he accidentally caught his foot on the top of the machine and broke the entire door off. But I figured out if I just got some blue tack and shoved the button down, jobs are good and no problem. So, it wasn't too bad. And if anything, like I said, it helped with ventilation.
Kept it cool.
Kept it nice and cool.
I was saying, Al, for your alarm clock, I thought you were going to say, it's held together by duct tape, blue tack, whatever else, and then it's also powered by a potato.
Well, do you never remember doing that at school?
Out top of it.
You never remember you ever to do that at school? It's a pickle or something, a gherkin, and if you stick two electro rods to it while it's in a saltwater solution, you can power the light bulb. Now, I've always been tempted to do that with an alarm clock, see if it actually works. You think the alarm clock has less power, really, than a light bulb as such, so it would be easier to run off.
Well, this is it. You can get your batteries from the Poundland, which is what they're actually designed for, is the low-power outage things, like remote controls and alarm clocks. Now, you can get, for example, Batterex batteries from Poundland, and you sit them in one of their batteries. You probably still got the original battery that you got in the 90s for it. It's just one of them.
No. I think it's an Energizer battery that I replaced about a couple of months back.
That'll be gone after you're dead, mate.
But it's a great little alarm clock. I need to take a picture of it.
Yes, get it on the group. It's this legendary, this alarm clock. I think when it does finally die, I think you may need to bury it in your back garden, have a whole ceremony for it.
There will be an RIP alarm clock. I'll even make a plaque up and everything.
This is it. I think it's now the official RAD alarm clock. Why not? We'll get photographs and get it mould and get it sold as merch. Why not? But yeah, what have I been up to? Oh, so that was actually Lewis. What have you been up to first, mate?
Oh, thought you were going to leave me out then.
No, nearly did.
Oh,
It's traditional to leave somebody out. Come on.
Oh, I'm the new
Normally
Darren.
it's me.
Normally it's Alan.
Yeah, Christmas was steady. I got to spend it. Had it off and got to spend it with all the main family members, which was really nice.
Because you have no friends.
Yeah,
Wow.
true. Worked New Year's, although I'm not particularly bothered because when you think about it, New Year's is just sort of like a night where everybody goes out, and I just hate people, so I just prefer to do my drinking at every other night of the year. And
New
then,
Year's is just an excuse to get pissed anyway nowadays, really. That's all it is for.
well, yeah, but there's no reason you can't do that in the comfort of your own home.
Well,
I
we'll
was
get to
sober.
that. Yeah.
I was asleep by 10 o'clock because I was at work the next day.
Oh, is it 2018? What's changed? Nout.
Fuck all.
Fuck all.
And then this week I've started going back to wrestling training because I stopped going sort of around about September time, and I just thought, right, New Year, I've put a bit of weight on, so I'm sort of trying to eat right, get back to the gym, and I've been going back to wrestling training, and I'm pretty sure Alan will attest to me that I was feeling it the next day.
Yeah, it was like living with an old man. It really was for that night. It was like both me and Matt were trying to push him off the couch because he kept getting stuck, and I was like, "Oh, my back hurts." I went, "Fuck off!"
I couldn't
He
help
to the
it.
floor, just started kicking him.
You need to speak to Christ and talk to him about his super duper £2 deep heat bath sort of solution that he managed to find after he was doing white collar.
Might need to get on that.
It's in pound shop for
Called
£2.
getting into an ice cold bath and hope for the best.
Yeah.
There is that as well.
So I spent Wednesday evening and all of Thursday at Clan Morrison, and then Friday was just a lazy day, and then I've been back in work today.
Fantastic. I've basically had a normal rota. I've basically worked over Christmas. I was even on Christmas Day, so it's just.
I don't remember us asking you how your week's been.
What's that?
I say I don't remember us asking you how your week's been.
Yeah, but I thought it was naturally coming to my turn. I was the last one. Come on. But yeah, I've been working over Christmas. Worked the back end of Christmas Day, so I got the best part of Christmas Day with the kids just before they went to bed. I went to work, so I can't say I missed out on Christmas Day because I didn't. And basically, other than that, I've pretty much just been working and doing the usual stuff when I've been off. I had New Year's Eve off and played my traditional game of Monopoly on New Year's Eve because I don't go out. I play Monopoly. And but thankfully this year was Monopoly was brought by Jim Beam Twin Oak, which I got for Christmas off the better half. So much enjoyment.
Enough, that's why I'm drinking right now.
Nice. So but unfortunately I lost that game of Monopoly. So my partner is now the household champion at Monopoly. So I've got to wait a whole year now to try and wrestle that crown off her.
No, we don't. You invite all your mates round and we'll kick her ass.
That's not nice.
Did they ever mention I'm not a nice person?
I've known that since high school. Come on.
It's the traditional tag team involved in a triple threat. You get rid of the odd man and then fight amongst yourselves.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, it's been pretty uneventful, really. I mean, I got the WWE 2K18 for Christmas and I've been playing that, and despite all the bad reviews that I've seen for it and read about and what have you, I'm enjoying it. So, it's just one of them. But,
it's like talking about games. I got Call of Duty World War II off my parents, and I didn't have the heart to tell them I sold my soul to EA and I was a Battlefield 1 bitch.
Oh.
So, you know what? I'll put it on. I'll play it. Completed the campaign mode. I fairly enjoyed it. It was a good storyline. Then I went online. Yeah, that lasted for a grand total of 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I handed it straight to my eldest.
Not fun online.
Yeah, I handed it straight to my eldest child and went, "There you go, you have that."
Yeah,
and it was that. He turned around and goes, "Why? What's wrong with it? If you're handing it to me?"
Yeah, Alan's giving something away. What's the catch?
Yeah, shows he's on the fucking board.
So
it's been a long time since I've played Call of Duty Online. I think it was like 2012 was the last time I played Call of Duty Online. Can't say I miss it. I mean, all you got was 13-year-old kids saying that they're gonna screw your mum or something like that.
It was bad, and I'm just there going, no, handing it straight over. I was like, I can't be doing with this. But
yes.
Alas, everything's going well with Battlefield 1. I'm now part of a group that plays on a regular occurrence with the developers from DICE.
Nice.
So that's been pretty good. So the last couple, 3 nights playing against the DICE developers. I've actually got added one on Xbox Live and all that. So that's pretty cool, actually. So he's he's got the authority to give out special, you get these special packs. You do certain amount of XP, you get a crate to open online, and it's got skins, or it's got double XP points for an hour and all this stuff. So we got a fair few chucked at us. So it's like, I can get used to this. And now apparently I've now got to play on a regular occurrence on it.
Oh, fair
the wife's not happy.
That used to be me with Forza, though, mate. I used to play every Tom, Dick and Harry, didn't I, to be fair, on Forza. Me and Xander were pretty dominant, as Alan, you will attest.
Yeah,
At one point, we were just battering everybody. But yeah, so going back to WWE 2K18.
Oh, no. Let's stick with Forza for a second.
I'll go for it.
I think it was Forza 4 or Forza 5. I actually got in a race a couple of times with the developers of Turn 10.
Yeah,
they're
I've done that a few times.
Filthy bastards, aren't they?
Yeah. I remember getting pushed off and flipping my car by some bastard from Turn 10.
Yeah, so it was like, practice what you preach, bastards.
So, yeah, try and ban me. I'm the developer. You know what I mean? It's not fun. But yeah, but going back to WWE 2K18, this obviously if you choose to. Me and Coxie have put our likeness into the game, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah, so if you decide to, for some reason, don't know why.
You found the mod to get Millhouse from The Simpsons on there.
We have not.
Well, you said the likeness, so the only person you like to is Millhouse.
Well, unfortunately, I was going to put you in the game, but unfortunately, you can't get a walking pie.
You can. I'll show you.
But yeah, me and Coxie have put ourselves in the game. If you go to the the downloads, and so go on.
Community creations, it's called.
That's the one. Community creations, and if you search for us under the hashtags LAO, is it LA? Last start of podcast, so LAOP or hashtag RAD. We should come up. So I'm down as THG. You're just down as I didn't see what your character was called. I've not had a chance to download him yet. That's why.
C.
Just C.
AXC.
Oh, AXC. Right. So yeah. If you fancy,
I don't know. I quite like the idea of it just being C.
Coming down to the ring.
Online fighting. Who am I fighting? Guy called C.
That's what I got called in commentary though, because it's like the way they cut the announcement. It's like A, X, C,
yeah,
and so it's like what's it coming down to the ring? T, H, G.
Yeah.
Right. He's playing as Paul. It's like, you heard Mark Cole. Let's talk about G for a moment.
Yeah.
And then, let's talk about C for a moment.
He's not wrong though. Because unfortunately, with the game, you obviously you get 4 slots for your announcement. So you have a nickname, you have 2 first names, and your surname. But unfortunately, you always use your surname last, don't they? So whatever you put in your surname is what they'll use. So obviously, if I'm putting THG in, my first name's T, my second first name's H, and then obviously the surname would have to be G. So obviously, all the time when they say, "Wow, look at G," it's like, what? First time I heard it, I thought, oh well, there's not much I can really do about it.
Oh, just in the comedy value you could have with that. Although, would they ban you for inappropriate swearing? Oh my god! Dickhead, it's just hit it with a chair. Let's talk about head. What's his first name? Dick.
Oh my god, THG, here comes his finisher, the G spot. Boom.
Why have I not done this?
I don't know.
Because you've not talked to me about it, who's the most greatest person alive.
I could be talent relations manager, no problem.
There's going to be a censorship to it, because it's a kid-friendly game.
Well, it's not kid-friendly because it's 16 plus, but at the same time, obviously, they can't be having, the blatant swear words all over the creator wrestlers and things like that. And the commentary names. Originally, I went down as my original name, and I proper botched it together. And obviously, you could get my first name, obviously, but my name Flinders isn't in the game, so I've had to think, what's the closest I could get? So I got obviously the second name was like Flynn. But then I was like, what could it make? What's the closest thing I can find closest to Durs? And it was Dirk.
Flynn Dirk.
So I was getting announced when I was coming down to the ring on the game. It's coming down to the ring, weighing in at whatever, hailing from Blackpool, England, Paul Flindirk. I was like, whoa.
No, it was 2K15's last one I played, and you could actually have my full name on it, and I was quite impressed with that. Because you never really got any of the wrestling games. You never got Morrison. You always got Morris or Morrissey, but never Morrison.
Morrison's still in it. Morrison's still in it. So you could actually get your name in there.
But going back to the whole censorship malarkey, I do remember very, very well in SmackDown 2, you could swear the shit out of it on it.
Yeah, so you could. There was no online on it, was there? So
no, it was absolutely brilliant.
You could do whatever you wanted, really, on SmackDown 2. In fact, probably most of the other games as well, leading up to the end of the PlayStation 2 era, because there was no online to worry about. So whatever was on your machine, no one else was seeing but yourself. So if you wanted to draw a pair of boobs or something like that on a T-shirt, you could quite happily do that, and no one would bat an eyelid. So yeah, it's just one of them. It's just obviously it's all about online censorship. That's what
it's bullshit. But no. Going along with online censorship, so if you go on games like Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4, COD or anything, you can make your own emblem. So I've seen some corkers out there, everything from South Park characters to Rick and Morty sort of style thing. And you get the occasional one with a guy sucking on a cock or something, or a guy it literally is drawn and a guy teabagging another guy with his balls hanging out. And I'm thinking, how long till Microsoft picked up on that and gone, nope.
Well, there's a well-known story that Xander knows about, is how I bumped into Xander, funny enough. I used to have a car which had had full nudity on it. And I used to drive around with it on Forza. And not once did I get pulled by Microsoft or turn 10 or anything like that. And I just raced around and there were no problems at all. But the actual car, when the designs, every time they were turned up on the marketplace, kept getting pulled down. So it's a weird one. It depends on what they catch. Sometimes it slips through the net. It's just one of them things.
It was like for the Xbox 360. for years and years and years, you could not have Blackpool as your hometown because it was deemed as racist.
Was it deemed as racist?
It was deemed as racist.
I was thinking that. The thing is, though, you could put the word Blackburn in.
Yeah, but you couldn't have Blackpool.
Do you know why?
Go on.
Because it had the word poo in it. I'm not joking. No, you could put Blackburn in, absolutely fine. I used to try and put my hometown in on the Xbox 360, and obviously because it had the word poo in it. It was not. I don't think it was anything to do with being racist. Because if that was the case,
I'm sure it came up. I'm sure it came up as this is affiliated with a racist remark.
Oh right.
I'm sure it said that.
Eventually, though, it changed, didn't it? You were allowed it again because it saw sense, or someone slapped someone across the face and went, "You've got to allow that," because there's an actual place called that. You know, it's there's like different names. Like obviously in the UK, there's some absolutely funky names. You try and put your name down for that, you'd be like, no. You know, there's like places called Knob and things like that. You know, it's just one of them things. But it's what people have called things. You know.
Yeah, you know, I love to be the place like Upper Ramsbottom or something like that. Trying to put that in. Or there's a place. Where is it? It's just outside Zedborough, up in the Yorkshire Dales, and it's called Fell End. This was like uni. We used to go camping. There used to be like a massive beer festival in a place called Dentdale, and a couple of us were still pissed from the night before, and we were travelling back up to Durham, and we had marker pens. We changed it on the sign. We changed it on the sign to Bellend, and there was a piece. There was a piece in like Northwest night sort of style. It was going. Culprit still at large for changing the name from Felon to a profanity. He was like, "Yeah, we caused that."
Yeah. But there's places in the UK where you don't even need to do that. I mean, there's a place called Twat, and it's spelled TWATT. So you don't even have to mess about with the signs. It's things like that.
I'd like to be that town in Australia. I think it is. Fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is Australia where they have products on sale where they've got a can of WD-40. It's called Start, you bastard.
But no,
Australia also have coon cheese.
Yeah. But there's a place in Austria called fucking. I'm sure it is. It's Austria or Germany. No, it's Germany because it's outside Stuttgart. Because Top Gear. It was one of the last Top Gear things where they gone from all these towns in Germany with weird names before they went to the Nürburgring. Because Nürburgring's just outside Stuttgart. So they were going to places like fucking... what was another one? Shit. Another one was... she was similar to G-Spot or something like that. I can't remember.
Oh, I remember this, yeah. Yeah, but there's another famous one as well in America. I mean, it was on Jackass where they did the whole skit on it called My Anus. Just one of them, you know. They're all over the place, you know. Some obviously has named it as a joke and it's gone through. You know, it's just one of them. So, but yeah. Speaking of America,
fuck you.
Yeah. Donald Trump has decided he's going to stir the pot a bit. Has anyone seen his tweet that he sent to Kim Jong-un? Or towards Kim Jong-un, anyway.
My red button's bigger than yours.
Yeah.
But you're not seeing the aftermath from all that?
I saw bits and bobs.
Well, the aftermath of all of it, that apparently he's got a mental illness. It acts him like a baby or something like that.
Has that been confirmed, or because I heard he was due to have his annual mandatory presidential medical test to make sure he's fit and proper. Now, I don't know if that's come through yet or not. I don't know.
I'm just trying to get BBC News up because that's where I saw it.
But yeah, if that's that could ring true, and if that's the case, he'll get. You know what? If he's obviously not fit to do the job, obviously Was it Richard Pence that would take over? Not sure.
Yeah, it was something like, I'm just looking for it now. Donald Trump rejects doubts over his mental health raised in a bombshell new book as fiction, or as the author is a fraud.
Well, so it could be someone Billy bullshitting to get a few quid off Donald Trump, let's be fair.
Michael
At the same time,
Wolff.
we don't know. It could be true.
I'm just reading it through now. Addressing the questions, I went to the best colleges. I had a situation where I was a very excellent student, came out and made billions and billions and billions of dollars, and became one of the top business people. Went to television for 10 years. It was tremendous success. Haven't heard.
It's amazing what money can do for you.
Oh, exactly.
If I could pick a soundbite for anything that Donald Trump says, it would be the David Brent from The Office just going, "Ooh, you're hard, aren't you?"
No, it's the bullshit button from Last Leg.
Is the equivalent of in this exchange? Is the equivalent of like putting his arms behind his back and saying, "Go on, you take the fucking first swing. Go on,
Yeah,
see what happens. You take the first
there was
shot. See what happens."
Yeah, there was loads of stuff saying that he's got his demands are ridiculous, and all the staff are unhappy in the White House because of the stupid things he's asking for. And I was like, "Oh, why the fuck would you ask that? Why would you get anyone to do it? You know, you're old enough to do it yourself," sort of thing. He says he acts like a fucking child and all this shit.
Because he's the president and he can make you do that.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has the mentality of somebody who has a metal plate in their head and just like tying his hands behind his back and giving someone like a sledgehammer and just going, yeah, go for it. It's not going to affect me.
I was going to say someone's hitting him over the head with a switched-on microwave.
But carrying on with the whole North Korea thing, has anyone heard about North Korea's likely plan for this Winter Olympics?
Good. What, they're going to boycott it?
No, they're going. But if you remember the last Winter Olympics, it came out that apparently Kim Jong-un got gold in double figure skating and the four-man bobsleigh. to his country, saying that he's won all this, and everyone's going, "What?"
To be honest, everyone's shit scared about North Korea and all that. I've not been able to take North Korea seriously since someone made the video of the North Korean army marching and someone's put "Staying Alive" by the Bee Gees over the top of it.
But it works so fucking well.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, it's a little bit faulty towers at the minute as well with the North Korean army. Because I read something before, and apparently, which was updated today, North Korea had actually done another missile test. Unfortunately, they hit their own fucking city.
Clever bastards. But the ridiculous. It was like saying, yes, we have, was it a 10 million strong army? Yeah, a quarter of them only have weapons. The other lot don't. Yeah. Oh, yes, we're capable of nuclear strikes and all this stuff. How many you got left in your arsenal? What, 4? 5? Nice one.
I believe, from what I've read, I think they have 22 nuclear missiles. That is it.
No, they don't.
From what I've read somewhere.
Don't even have that.
Whether they can launch them or not is a different matter. The ones that they're capable of launching, that might be that. But apparently they've manufactured 22.
But with the recent sanctions that have come into place from the last missile launch, they've basically, because they import all their fuel, they've gone from something like 55 billion. No, sorry, it's a lie. So 55 million barrels of oil they're supposed to get, petroleum and diesel and all that. Yeah, they only now get 250,000.
So that'll slow them down, you see.
Yeah, so it's like everyone goes, well, these sanctions aren't doing anything. He goes, have you actually had a look at the sanctions and what they're intended for? You're like, well, no. And he goes, go and have a look, go and read up, then come back and present your argument again.
So it's not designed to knacker up the logistics, isn't it? So they can't get bits and bobs to places to manufacture stuff in the first place.
And they don't have the raw materials to manufacture stuff in the first place, full stop.
Exactly. So the top, apparently they're in the top 10 index of the nations that are going to fall apart just for the fact that they can't really depend on themselves because they've got to import shit. So they will be turned into another nation somewhere.
Even the Chinese and the Russians have gone, don't be dicks.
Yeah. Yeah, their closest allies like, whoa, come on, man. It's the equivalent of grabbing your drunk mate by the shoulders when he's trying to attack someone in town.
No. The best way to describe it is basically World War II. Germany going, well, I want to do all this, and in comes Italy with, I can't remember the bloody dictator it's called.
Mussolini.
No, Mussolini going, you know what, guys, we need to calm down here. And Hitler turned around going, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's standing in front of him, like putting his arms in front of him. So look, calm down. Adolf Hitler's jumping up and down. He's like, let me at him!
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just gone, yeah, you're being dicks here. Calm it down.
Yeah.
But either two things are going to happen with North Korea. Either he's going to have a fit of rage and he's going to hit that button. And places like Japan, South Korea, India, Singapore, Vietnam, well, not Vietnam, probably Vietnam because they've been good recently, are just going to be, wiped off off the map.
Apparently, he's thinking, say the place that the most thinking it's going to likely to get hit if they do attack somewhere is Guam, because like I say, it's a US territory, isn't it? It's the closest bit of America that's to North Korea.
No, the nearest place in North Korea is Japan.
No, American soil, mate. American
soil, yes. They own. There's a part of an island at south of Nagasaki, which is run by Americans.
Okay.
Because basically, it's to the terms and agreements at the end of World War II. That yes, you can have your country back to Japan. Says, but you're not allowed an army. You're not allowed a fair-sized air force or naval. Says, but we have to have American boots on your soil 24/7. So they're basically gone, yeah, we're having this. This is ours. This here is ours. We're in control if you guys step out of line.
Okay.
So if anything, basically, if Japan goes tits up with North Korea, it is in the pact that anything happens to Japan, the Americans got to act on their behalf to retaliate.
Japan and NATO anyway, aren't they? So
yes, but no.
So we'd have to. Everyone would be sucked into that anyway.
Of sorts, but with the World War II, I can't remember what the pact's called. Basically, Japan relies on the Americans for any form of conflict.
Oh, fair days. I didn't know that.
So this is why if you look up any Japanese history and all that, since from World War II, they aren't allowed to bear arms in the country, so you're not allowed to own rifles of any kind. Even if you're going hunting or anything like that, you're not allowed. The police only have a certain jurisdiction. Anything more like a gun crime or anything like that, the Americans have to step in to sort it out. They've shut themselves off as basically to any form of armed control.
Okay.
So
well, I don't know. So
it's the Japanese Defense Force. I think it's JDF. Yeah, JDF. They're only allowed a limited number. So if anything invades Japan, they can basically use the JDF to repel. So, yes, the Japanese have designed fighters.
They've got a navy now, though, mate.
They have a navy. They've got a navy, but it's very, very limited.
They're not that long ago. I think they did some operations in Iraq, didn't they?
Yeah. They're only allowed a certain number of ships. So I think they're allowed one aircraft carrier, a handful of destroyers, a couple of cruisers, and I think though that they have still in that one in Tokyo Harbour an old battleship, which is technically still operational, but not operational. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Same as if you go to America, the battleship Missouri, it's a decommissioned ship, but can be called back in to service. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's basically it's it's just sat there waiting. It's back up, basically.
No, it makes perfect sense because you've got to think of it. Today's shenanigans, it's all about cyber warfare, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got a full network ship, like the British, the British Navy, the Royal Navy should say, the German Navy, the French Navy, in fact the French are the worst one for it, the US Navy, they're all networked. All it takes someone to go hacky, 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 oh look, we've just broke into...
That's racist.
That's not racist. How's that racist?
Hacky, hacky, hacky.
Hacky, hacky into into the government's computing systems. We're going to raid the MOD, or we just shut down all your radar, all your cruise missile defences, all your everything.
On a list here.
What?
Are you trying to get us put on some sort of list here?
No. I'm just using this. If you have an old World War II era battleship that isn't connected up, that isn't on a network or anything like that, and it's all literal manual control, right? That's their last line of defense. Because
this sounds like the plot from Metal Gear Solid 4.
It's actually a plot from Battlestar Galactica.
This is Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah. It's the same thing. It's still a plausible thing. Yeah, it's a plausible thing because if someone goes, I know, let's use our common sense and just hack into like the world's maximum security networks throughout the whole entire world, we've just basically taken control of everything.
Well,
what they're going to do? Oh no, let's send our fighters. Oh no, we're all computed. Oh, let's send our army. Oh, you can do, but how are you going to get words to them? Oh, we'll just have a runner. There we go.
But yeah, I'm going to say segue off this anyway, because
I can talk about this shit for hours.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll talk about the Japanese, obviously. We were talking about the Japanese a few minutes ago.
Segue.
And it's a nice segue. And
it worked.
There was like a really big wrestling event that happened a couple of days ago.
Best thing I have seen in years.
Yeah, the said wrestling event that happened was the 12th annual Wrestle Kingdom.
New Japan Pro Wrestling. I will say this. A majority of shows I watch on my own. This was the third event that I've watched at Clan Morrison. The two before that were the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania from last year. No surprise that this show was the best of all three. Which I realise might not be saying much, given that the two WWE shows were utter garbage. Well, no, there were aspects of it that were good, but in comparison, doesn't even fucking come close.
In the last 12 months, that's the best wrestling show on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
What we've just seen this week. It was the best show in the last 12 months. Now, it hurts me to say that because I really, really, really enjoyed the UK tournament, and I thought that was, for me, the event of the year last year, because everything last year fucking sucked. It really did. After that, it was a downhill. It was downhill.
Well, to be honest, for me, if you're looking at anything from WWE, it's what the UK guys did.
Yeah.
Because obviously you had the UK tournament, and then for my money, my most enjoyable match of last year was Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate from the NXT Takeover show.
Absolutely. I mean, I've put that down as my match of the year. Easily.
Yeah, same.
Easily match
Same.
of the year. Just not only the fact was the match that good, the crowd were into it. I mean, the crowd went from not giving a single shit to absolutely being on their feet within 5 minutes. 5 minutes is all those two guys needed to have every single eyeball straining, not blinking, not being able to miss a moment in that match.
And he had Jim Ross and Nigel McGuinness on commentary,
yeah,
so
it was
that
perfect.
does help as well.
It was perfect. And I mean, for me, that was the best match of the year. You could have put that match and put it in this card, and I think it would actually have been the worst card of the match of the night. This show was that good.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, there was stuff in the undercard where I didn't really rate. I mean, myself, Mr. Morrison, and our good friend Matt We were
Hello,
up.
Matt.
We were up to watch from. We were watching it. We watched it live all the way through.
Pre-show as well.
No, we weren't up for the. We weren't up for the New Japan Rumble.
Yeah, come on. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. I rarely do mornings.
Yeah. But I watched from the start up until the end of the World Tag Title match, because that was the match where I just sort of like started to get a little bit. I started to flag a little bit. So I went upstairs and had a match for the majority of the Minoru Suzuki Haruki Goto match. So I probably saw like the last 5 minutes of that match and then just watched the rest of the show from then on.
So you had a little bit of a power nap.
No, just literally a quick power shower, and then I
Fair
was back in.
Back in the game.
But yeah, I can honestly say that despite it being the majority sort of like the same length as like the main card of a WrestleMania,
It basically was. It was a little slightly shorter than if you sat there and watched the pre-show and everything. It was a little shorter than a modern day WrestleMania.
Yeah, well,
Very slightly shorter.
Yeah, the thing is, just sort of like watching it, it didn't feel, although it was like 5 hours or whatever it was, it didn't feel that long.
No,
I mean, it probably
like
helped.
5 hours.
No, it probably helped that we were watching it throughout the morning rather than us sort of like going from midnight through till 5:30 in the morning.
Well, this is it. You're waking up full of energy, watching pump for this show. Whereas at night, obviously being British, it was a very British problem. Being a wrestling fan, is having to stay up till 1, 2 in the morning just to start watching.
Yeah.
And then you go through till 4, 5 o'clock in the morning just to watch your wrestling. WrestleMania can go to nearly 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's what we did last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't see any like Americans complaining that they were getting up early to watch or.
Nah.
This is it.
Like every past, it's like we do that every year.
Yeah.
We do that every show.
Every single show, if you can be bothered to watch it live, we're fucking staying all the way through till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, this is it. Who's going to get up till stay up until 5 o'clock in the morning to watch Baron Corbin? It's just one of them.
Exactly.
But this show, it could have been on at 1 in the morning, and I don't think anyone would have been complaining if it carried on till 6 in the morning.
No.
I really do not. I mean, every single match was fantastic. The only gripe I have with the show, Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay, in air quotations, killing himself for no apparent reason. I mean, I'm all for having the odd flip here or there. I don't mind it. But when it goes flip, 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 rest hold, what's the point?
It becomes unnecessary. Yeah, I remember watching the because he had his match at the final of the Best of Super Junior tournament against Kushida. Mm-hmm. It's a fucking fantastic match. But the one main gripe I have is, about 3/4 of the way through the match where they did their head trapped in the turnbuckle super kick spot.
Yes.
They probably did it with like 2 different people.
Yeah, it was 2. And I think one they went to do a third and it failed.
Yeah. Well, Ospreay did that to Kushida, but he hit 5 super kicks in a row. And then they sort of like went, a couple of minutes later, they went straight home to the finish and Kushida won. So that was sort of like my only gripe with the match. But
that makes that move look like shit.
Yeah. It's unnecessary overkill, but
yeah.
I mean, if you think about that, if you think about that 4-way, it was good to see because New Japan don't really, apart from like the never openweight trios title or like maybe multi-man tag title matches, they don't really do multi-man matches for any of the singles titles. So it was nice to see, but I just sort of, if you look at the matches that Kushida and Takahashi that were having from last year, just literally one-on-one matches, like similar time frame to Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, just like just over 20 minutes, get all the shit in, and it's a fucking awesome match. So although I liked it, it was sort of straying away a little bit from the norm from New Japan. I can't see them doing sort of like a match like that for quite a bit.
No, I mean the match itself, like you say, it was a fucking great match. I mean, it kept me interested, but every time Will Ospreay started doing unnecessary shit, it just made me, and it just annoyed me. So why? If this is a title that you're going for, and you think, right, the objective of this match is to hurt your opponent to the point where they don't kick out. So, at this point... So go on, mate.
I'm always told in training, your main objective is to win.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's flips and tricks can be fantastic, but there's only so much that you can take of it before it gets a little bit right. Okay, come on, you actually gonna, you actually gonna, pull off the Oscutter and win, mate. Come on.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, you've done flip. When are you actually going to do something that looks like it may actually injure the guy? You know what I mean? It's not injure the guy, but hurt the guy. For example, when he did that stupid spot where he climbed up the support beams. I mean, why? Why was that necessary?
Because it's something different.
It was something different, yeah, but if the objective is to win, and you make it look like you're trying to fucking run away from the guys, why is it necessary? Why would you do that? It just takes the believability out of the match. I know people say, oh, it's a faux sport. It's still a semblance of responsibility, of believability. Otherwise, it's like, why?
The problem with that climb was, if you notice, when he did the flip off it, completely missed every bugger else, lands on his feet, for that split second realised he's fucked up. Then he flopped to the floor pretending he was in pain.
Yeah, because he no-sold it. And that's what a lot of this cruiserweight shit is really bad for, is the no-selling. It's no-selling. It's a massive issue. It's like flip. I'm going to hit you with 3 tombstone pile drivers and about 50 super kicks, and you're going to get out and just jump straight back up. It's like Leo Rush when he sold that didn't sell that pile driver. Just stood straight up. It's fucking stupid.
I honestly think though that if they got that they have that. Excuse you.
Right.
They have that. They have that to. If you have that aspect just dumbed down quite a lot, you have a fucking fantastic division. This is where WWE are going wrong. They condition everybody, no matter what your weight class. They've conditioned like 205 Live to be exactly the same as Raw, as people who wrestle on Raw and SmackDown every week. And they wonder why people aren't interested in going to 205 Live events. They wonder why they play out in front of dead crowds. They wonder why people don't care about the division. It's just like, if I want to see like topes and sort of like, springboards, I can just go watch a Seth Rollins match.
Or you can go and watch the gymnastics.
Well, exactly. I can go watch a Will Ospreay match. But with Wrestle Kingdom to a T, for me, the only real blemishes were obviously the World Tag Title match, because I didn't really care about either team, and plus I was in desperate need of a shower at the time. And then the other blemish was the Tanahashi Jay White match.
Yeah, I was to be honest with you, that was probably the match I gave the least shits about. But it was still a decent match. Nothing wrong with it.
So, no doubt, I don't knock the effort of either man, but I felt really sorry for Jay White, because it's obvious with the stuff that they're setting up since Wrestle Kingdom's been and gone, and obviously they had the New Year's Dash show yesterday morning, so they're setting up for like this big program with Omega. They've obviously got huge plans for him, but I just think they could have set him up for maybe the grand stage with Tanahashi a little bit sooner. Maybe they just sort of like they held back a little bit too soon, because obviously he was announced as going to challenge Tanahashi for the Intercontinental title at the Power Struggle show, which was November. I mean, it's less than 2 months to build to, your biggest show of the year.
Yeah, even WrestleMania is nearly 3, doesn't it? So
yeah, I mean, plus that as well, with the condition of Tanahashi as well. It was going to be a struggle, but I can't knock the effort of either man.
It was you could tell the effort was put in, and it was a great match. Speaking of effort, a great match. What a fucking match Omega Jericho was.
Oh, do you know what? Watching it at the time, it was just wow.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last great Chris Jericho match.
Well, that's just what I said to you.
Years.
It was almost like he was let off the leash and said basically go be the wrestler that you are, not as you are.
You put words right out of my mouth there, Alan.
Go and be the wrestler that you are, not the wrestler that Vince McMahon want you to be.
Exactly.
Just go and
it was an unrestricted Chris Jericho that we saw.
Yeah. It was
completely.
The best bit about that whole entire match, and it still makes me giggle every time I see the GIF, is him doing the middle finger. That made me laugh every time.
Yeah.
Do you know what's amazing about the match though? Chris Jericho is 47 years old. He's never worked with Kenny Omega before. This is sort of like his first big, massive stage outside of WWE, and they came in with such expectation. This was the match. This was like the marquee match. This was the match that everybody wanted to see at Wrestle Kingdom.
People traveled to fucking Japan for that match.
Yeah.
There was a shit ton of foreigners, weren't there?
It was like 2,500 like non-Japanese people who paid for a ticket to get in, which is amazing. But as good as the match was, sort of like having people analyze it and sort of like the tiny little bits, it brings the match even more full circle than it already is. Like just I think it was after Kenny Omega did the big dive spot and he completely missed and wiped out through the announce table. Yeah. There was a bit where the referee was trying to encourage Jericho to get back in the ring, and Jericho knocked the referee out. And then the referee's son, who was a young boy at ringside, tried to intervene, and Jericho put him in the walls of Jericho. And then the referee was out for like 5 minutes. So Omega and Jericho could do all their sort of like high spots on the outside. And it was only after they did all the high spots that the referee was able to get sort of like, the referee recovered and was able to start like making the count out.
It was no DQ, wasn't it? So...
Well, it's no DQ, but the count outs are still in effect. So it was just sort of like it was a rather intelligent way. It was an intelligent way of sort of getting around the fact of just sort of like going back into the ring every now and then to break the count, and also it put emphasis on Jericho that he is the actual heel in this match. Yeah. He's not only attacking a referee. He's not only attacking the referee, but he's attacking the referee's son.
Yeah, it makes him.
It's just little thing. Yeah, just little things like that.
What also really irritated me the most about that match, and it was Lewis that caught it, was the cutting of the forehead of Omega.
See, I never caught the blade in.
Well, I noticed it because it was when Jericho was ramming Omega's head into the chair that was stuck in the corner, and I thought I saw him blading, and then it looked as if like the referee was going over to Omega to pick the blade up, but I think it was a swerve because the referee went back over sort of like 10 seconds later and looked to have handed the blade. So I'm pretty sure they were swerving all of us
it could be.
As to when he was going to blade. But yeah, fucking incredible match.
Yeah, amazing.
Absolutely fucking incredible. If I would say, I mean, I haven't watched like Omega Okada 2 and 3. I've only seen the one from last year's Tokyo Dome show, but I'd say it was better than the first Okada Omega match. And it's exciting to see that this wasn't Jericho one and done with New Japan. I mean, he confronted Naito, who had a fucking awesome main event with Okada.
Yeah, that was a great match.
It's really sort of exciting to see that they're going to be doing Jericho and Naito. It's either going to be the New Beginning show at the end of January, or the show after that, which is around about the start of February. So
you see, I can see Jericho going backwards and forwards.
Maybe
I can see it happening.
It's the perfect scenario for him. It's the perfect setting. He can be him. And that's
the thing is with Jericho, you can tell he is having an absolute fucking blast doing this.
Oh, his Instagram and Twitter has been brilliant.
And who can blame him?
I showed him, the retro T-shirt mock-ups that you can get done.
Yeah.
So it's like an old picture of Jericho versus the old picture of Omega. And I thought, I've got to find that picture because it's absolutely brilliant. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, Jericho is just sort of like Jericho from WWF in 1999. But like Kenny Omega is just sort of like one of his first picks that he got when he's sort of like working the independents. He's just sort of like got short hair. Looks a bit like Sean O'Hare.
No pun intended.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it's one thing I'm going to have to say about the whole pay-per-view was this is my first ever time watching New Japan. So it's like, all right, what am I expecting here? Is this going to be the same setup as WWE, or we're going to have something more on the lines of Impact, or we're going to have something on the lines of ROH?
Don't even insult New Japan with that. You're even mentioning Impact in the same sentence.
Yeah. No, but what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to, I've never seen anything like this before. So I was expecting it to be structured. Have a little break. This is happening. Structured. I'm there going, holy shit, how fluid is this going? One after fight. The main card, the stint with Jericho, brilliant. Fight. Then the main card again at the end of that. Because I was expecting some, I'm sure there was one more match. Oh, fucking hell, there is. Oh, brilliant. And it worked beautifully. WWE and all the other productions can turn around and actually watch that and take heed of how it should be, not how it's full of stupid adverts or this what happened in the last 6 weeks leading up to that fight, and you kind of going, all right, yeah, getting all excited. Oh, this fight should be fun. This should be a good fight. There's a bit of a fight going on, and it's a shit match. You're left disappointment.
The thing is, New Japan's mentality is every match, to an extent, is important, and that's something that WWE just they don't emphasize. Like I can remember sort of like a couple of years ago, it was like the very start of the Women's Revolution or whatever the fuck it was called. I just couldn't give a shit. But like all three factions, like PCB, Team Bella, and Team fucking Bad or whatever, were in the ring and they were fucking going fisticuffs. And I swear it was Nikki Bella that turned around and just went, wins and losses, who gives a shit? I'm paraphrasing, obviously. And it's just sort of like, that's why nobody watching WWE, 90% of the time, they don't fucking react to anything. Because if you condition your fans by telling them that most of the things that happen don't matter, then why are people going to bother? And that's the one thing I like about New Japan, is that it's people who are allowed to be themselves or their own character. They have titles that actually mean something. There's prestige to them, and you just get every match is different as well. Nothing's sort of like on the same structure, match after match after match. Everything is different to an extent, and the most important thing of all, wins and losses actually matter, and that's something I like. That's something that I really look for in my wrestling. Is what I love.
Yeah, it's that Lewis came out with a corker of a line through the showing on Thursday morning, was this is a wrestling show, not a sports entertainment.
Yeah.
This is
because So you're here to see the wrestling, not a whole storyline.
This is it. Well, anyway, I just had a thought.
One more. The head shave match. Which one's that? I can't remember.
Never opened weight, wasn't
Minoru
it?
Suzuki and Hiroki Goto.
Yeah, that was the best match for me out of the whole entire show.
Yeah, I
keep
hearing from people saying that match is really fucking good, but obviously, bar like the last 5 minutes or whatever, I was in the shower, so I'm going back to watch the fucking like the top 5 matches or whatever.
The reason being it's my favourite match of the whole entire show was at the end they upheld a Japanese tradition, and that was me made. I'm just sat there going, full round of applause here. That hats off to him for doing that.
And the thing is as well, Suzuki came out on New Year's on the show after the next day, and he revealed his bald head. He looks even more fucking frightening, shaved bald, and it's just sort of like, okay, he didn't want to, but he sort of like he was a man of his word. He shaved his own head, and hell, fire, and brimstone is going to rain down on New Japan because. One thing you don't want is a pissed off Minoru Suzuki.
I fucking love him. I think he's great.
Yeah.
He's like, you see the older generation wrestlers, and you're like, oh, they turn up for a show. They go, I've had a flutter, and I'm going to retire for a bit. Then I'll come back later on. He just seems to be sticking there. Because I went back and caught a couple of his other shows, and he's like 110% every match. And I thought, you just don't see that with that sort of person at that age. That is spot on.
Absolutely. So if you've not already, as sort of like a closing, in closing, as Ric Flair would say.
Whoa. There's somebody else that's not had a comment on this yet.
Oh, shit, yeah. Sorry, Coxie.
I'm trying to get you in for the last 10 minutes, Coxie. I have been trying. It was like a fucking tidal wave. You can't stop it.
Well,
sorry.
That just shows how fucking good this show was.
Exactly.
They couldn't get me and Alan to shut the fuck up, so Coxie could get a word in edgeways.
To be honest, you couldn't shut me up all day after the fucking match.
No.
You can say we're absolutely beaming about this show, obviously. So, yeah. Coxie, what were your personal highlights, and what do you think, obviously, if there were any lowlights, what did you think?
I watched the Rumble as well.
Sorry, I was coughing.
I thought it was weird how they had like Liger in it, but then it's like Liger over there. He's like nothing really, is he? He's a legend, but he's like Ric Flair for the Americans or whatever. That was pretty. It was all right. It felt a bit overly too long for me, but yeah, it wasn't. Overall, it was a really good show, and in terms of like New Japan's production and that. It's something that WWE needs to be watching for. Like I said last year when they did Omega Ricardo, I was like, WWE needs to be watching this now for Mania. Because if they're planning to do bloody whatever they did, I can't remember. It was fucking shite.
Was it Reigns fucking Lesnar or something?
Yeah. No, Reigns Taker, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, Reigns Taker, not Reigns Lesnar.
Reigns Taker.
Yeah, it's like the bits of it were like forgettable in a way. There was like the 6-man never open weight 6-man tag team match thing was very sort of forgettable for me.
It wasn't. I will admit that's probably one of the lesser matches of the card that I saw. So I couldn't tell you exactly what happened in it. All I know is that Trent Barretta fucking won.
Yep.
That's about it. That's all I could tell you.
Oh, you'd be surprised, like, Barretta, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Lance Archer, all these people who got sort of like lost in the shuffle in WWE, and they've gone to New Japan and they're doing really fucking well.
Mm-hmm. Hats off to him. Basically, I could see the production team going basically, right, what do you want to do? He goes, what? He goes, what do you want to do? Like, I want to wrestle. We'll sort it out for you. Anything else you want to do? I want a big fucking gun. We'll sort that out for you. What else you want? I want a big fucking set of wings. We'll sort that out for you.
That was fucking amazing, by the way. Just got to stop you there. That fucking entrance was insane.
It was a tweet Matt Skill put out on Twitter. He said something like, I hope you how hard it was to get these wings into Japan.
Yeah.
Because it's American. It's an American girl that makes them. Because he put up a link up saying like, "Oh, this is where I got them from," and it's an American girl, and she's like an internet sensation. She's gone viral due to it.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was incredible. That outfit was incredible.
Also, can I say, before Coxie goes on, I don't know how we've gone through this whole discussion about Wrestle Kingdom without mentioning Brandy Rhodes.
Oh, you should have seen the conversation I was having with Coxie and Bunkle on this. Coxie will tell you.
It was like sort of like an everywhere moment. But
yeah. I was pausing and taking pictures.
Oh, mate, that outfit was just spot on. And for a side ring character, she did very, very well.
Oh, she was brilliant.
Yeah, it was just nice to see that, where having someone like Stephanie McMahon stamping her feet because something's gone wrong.
Well, she was the perfect shitheel female manager. She was absolutely perfect at doing what she was. That's what she was there to do, and she was perfect for it. And she did a role perfectly.
That's another thing. Cody Rhodes with blonde hair. No.
I like it.
No,
I like it. I said
it was like an older version. It was like a young, like a midlife crisis of I want to be Eminem.
I want to be like my daddy. That's the rules, baby.
What did I say he was? What did I say he looked like? Oh, was it? I said if you stuck a set of shades on him, he looked like Albert Wesker.
But the surprise, I was actually surprised with that match because I thought it was going to be, he's going to turn up, he's going to throw his body weight around, he's going to go, and then that was it. But I was actually going, no, this is actually a really good fight. I'm enjoying this.
It's because he was in there with Kota Ibushi, and Kota Ibushi is fucking awesome.
He is. You know, he reminds me of you guys wouldn't know. It's an anime called Kenshin, and they made a live action version of it, and it did better than the anime. And he reminds me of the character, the actor who plays Kenshin from that, identical minus the scar on his face. And I thought that would, I'm liking this guy. But
yeah, I'm trying to find this conversation and I can't find it. But there was something else. I said he looked like somebody else as well. I couldn't remember who it was. Someone blonde, anyway. Obviously.
Do you want to carry on, Coxie? Because
I'm talking drivel now. Go on.
I was going to say, I want to say Ring of Honor. There was something I watched. Right, it was when Cody Rhodes showed the blonde hair for the first time, and the commentary at the time was like, "Oh, Cody Rhodes has dyed his hair blonde in tribute to his father," and all this sort of thing. And then on the actual Wrestle Kingdom show, it was like, what's not Don Callis, the other one,
Kevin Kelly.
Kevin Kelly, that's one. And he's like, "Oh yes, his new blonde hair, which he's dyed for a movie."
Continuity guy. Kevin Kelly should know better. He was on both fucking shows.
Well, less said about the English commentary, the better. It wasn't the greatest.
Wasn't the greatest, but yeah, at least the guys were fucking passionate about it.
True, this is true. But yeah, there could have been worse. I mean, it could have been Yoshi fucking Tatsu again.
God.
Yeah. So I heard you don't like it. So I heard you don't like this man. Yeah, I don't like him.
Riveting. Thanks, Yoshi.
Yeah. Yeah, Lewis knows what I'm on about.
Yeah, I know what you're on about. I've seen the Botchamania videos.
Yeah, it was fucking terrible.
But what might be worth hunting down is the Wrestle Kingdom show on Access, where they've got Jim Ross and Josh Barnett as in commentary. Because I've heard like a lot of times when people go back and watch matches again, but they watch it on Access with Jim Ross and Josh Barnett, and they said that it adds a whole different sort of dimension to it.
That was Wrestle Kingdom 10, wasn't it?
Yes. No, Wrestle Kingdom 10, if I remember correctly, Wrestle Kingdom 10 was Jim Ross and Matt Striker.
Yeah, it was.
And it was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Considering that it's sort of like it was Jim Ross's first like major commentary gig for New Japan, I seem to remember him doing a really good fucking job.
He did, and I've been a fan of Matt Striker on commentary for years, so I quite like Matt Striker. I'm one of the few, but it's one of them. So yeah, anything else you want to add, Coxie, before we go for a quick break?
Yeah, I'm just reading up here now. It was actually Wrestle Kingdom 9, which was Jim Ross on commentary.
Ah.
That was when they did the GFW crossover thing. Wrestle Kingdom 10.
God, yes.
Striker.
Yes, because he had what's his name, fucking Jeff Jarrett in Bullet Club.
Yeah. You can go to globalforcegold.com.
Do you want some of my barbecue sauce?
I can get my wife to spit in your face.
No, you can't because she's dead.
I can throw tortillas to the audience in Mexico.
It was Wrestle Kingdom 10 with Kevin Kelly, Striker, and Yoshitatsu.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
That's the one. Get that watched if you want to watch the most amazing commentary team of all time. Get that one watched.
There was the Evil and Sonada tag match with the Killer Elite Squad, which is Davey Boy and Lance Archer, for the IWGP tag titles. It wasn't a bad match, but again, it was sort of forgettable for me in a way, because it was just like sort of, you had Evil and Sonada's getting constantly worked over the entire bloody match, just to then sort of make a comeback and a quick win.
Yeah, I did notice that about the match, and I second it, Coxie. It didn't really do anything for me.
And I do apologise, by the way, if you can hear my cat meowing in the background.
It's no different to a Start Wrestling episode, so.
At least it's not cats shitting in your sink.
There you go. We've not reached that level yet. And on that bombshell, we're going to go for a very quick break. We will be right back after these very short messages. So see you in about 5 minutes.
Hey, this is Coxie, reminding you to check out the Lost Art of Podcasting. We cover reviews, interviews, listener topics, our own topics. We even take a general look at life and the world around us. So I'll find the Lost Art Podcasting on Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes, even YouTube, and all of our good podcast places.
Hello, this is for...
Can't we say hello at the same time?
Fuck's sake. Hello! This is an advertisement for Master Debaters.
Oh, can we say Master Debaters together as well? Yeah?
Hello! I am Michael.
I'm Sean. I'm Toffer.
And we are the Master Debaters.
We are the Master Debaters. That's what we want to do.
We're all saying it.
Yeah.
Hello! I'm Michael.
I'm Sean. I'm Toffer. And
we are the
Damn it, Sean!
Debaters.
I thought we were just doing...
Hello! I'm Michael.
I'm Sean. I'm Toffer.
We are
the Master Debaters. You can find us on Twitter @_Master Debaters, SoundCloud, Podbean, and iTunes. Just do yourself a favour and jump aboard this podcast train. Choo choo, motherfucker!
It's a mum.
Hello, Mum.
And a daughter.
Hello, Stacey.
Just telling it like they think they oughta.
I'd love to meet a pirate.
Rough giraffe. Rough giraffe.
Melodic sound of the flute.
They'll make you pee your pants when you laugh.
Wet and maggoty.
Funny chat.
Comedy bronze.
Sketchy facts.
Dog monk.
And advice from a very wonky cat.
Kipper.
Rough giraffe.
Sometimes sober.
Rough giraffe.
Cheese maggots.
On Podbean and Apple Podcasts.
It's not like they don't know what they're getting.
If you like hilarious chat and poorly researched facts, then Rough Giraffe is for you. You can follow us on Twitter @RoughGiraffePod or find us on Facebook. You can download and subscribe to the show on your favourite podcatcher.
thank you for listening to the RAD podcast. If you really enjoy this podcast, please consider supporting us by going to the RAD Live Facebook page at www.facebook.com/UK RAD Live. You can also find us on Twitter. Our handle is at UK RAD Podcast. You can find this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and many other good podcast apps and websites. And while you're supporting us, consider supporting our friends at the Lost Art of Podcasting. You can find them also on Facebook by going to the www.facebook.com/Lost Art of Podcasting. They are also on Twitter and have a handle at Lost Art Podcast. They are also on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and many other good podcast apps. Same also for his spin-off show, The Lost Art of Wrestling. They are also on Facebook at Lost Art Podcast, and also on Twitter with their handle at LAOW Podcast. Friends of the show, These People Podcast, great little show. Give them a like, give them a subscribe. You can find them at Facebook at www.facebook.com/These People Podcast. They are also on Twitter at TPPod. They also have a website at www.thesepeoplepodcast.com, and you can find them on Spreaker, iTunes, and many other good apps. Also, while you're at it, Casa Mirth Podcast. Cracking show if you don't mind a little bit more of the risque side of things. They are also have a website of their own as well at www.casamirth.com. They are on Twitter at Casamirth, and also find them on Facebook. They are also available on iTunes, Stitcher, and all other good pod sort of apps out there. And Mooch TV, friends of the show as well. They are on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Mooch TV. But you can also find them on YouTube at www.youtube.com/Mooch TV. And if you're ever in Blackpool, in the season, might add, because it's now closed, you can go to Reflex, the only bar in Blackpool that has 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s and noughties music, also accompanied with great food upstairs in the family bar. So if you're in Blackpool and you enjoy, great food, great music and a great time, why don't you consider checking out the Reflex at the Foxhole. Now it's back to the RAD Live podcast. Hi and welcome back to the RAD Live podcast. Now, just wanted to make sure before we move on, is there anything else that you want to add to about Wrestle Kingdom, Coxie?
Yes! my outdoor voice kicked in then.
So next subject, yeah?
No, he's trying to tell us that his toilet's outside. He has to piss on the lawn.
Mm-hmm. Got to keep it hydrated.
Helps this time of year.
But, yeah, well, pretty much one of the best matches on the card was Goto, that one, and Suzuki. Probably match of the night for me. Well, on par with Jericho Omega. Well, that was a really good match. Ospreay, I think you can pretty much covered it. Flip-de-doo, bro.
Yeah, too many flip-de-doos.
Do a barrel roll.
Hambone. Tanahashi, Jay White. I was sort of into it, but I wasn't. Like, it just sort of felt a bit like almost like a filler between Ospreay and Omega.
Yeah.
Sort of like as if it were just there because it's a big show. That was
sounds
it.
About right.
Of course, Omega Jericho. Beautiful.
Everywhere.
It was everywhere, though. Yeah. Everywhere!
Yeah.
I've had a crisis.
I was bewildered by the fact, though, of like the referee called Red Shoes.
Yes.
Which is like a real thing, which bewildered and bemused me. Like,
yeah, I was thinking it was a piss take, and then I realised, well, hang on a minute.
When I first started watching New Japan, they used to reference Red Shoes, and I always noticed it was sort of like the oldest Japanese referee. So I thought it only really applied to him, but no, it applies to whichever referee is wearing red shoes at the time.
All right. Well, I was thinking maybe it signifies maybe they're the senior referee. Perhaps I don't know.
No,
That's what I thought. But
was it not? From what I read, because I read into it, there's the referee Tiger, who's like one of the more well-known New Japan referees. He's Tiger something, and then there's Red Shoes, who's actually known as Red Shoes, because this Tiger referee stepped down as the head referee, so Red Shoes took over. And apparently when he took over, he started wearing a red belt and red trainers. So he got the nickname Red Shoes. And it stuck ever, apparently.
Oh, okay.
That's fair enough. But yeah, anyway. Yes, that was Omega and Jericho.
I felt it was a decent match, especially since part of the build-up of it was about how Jericho on Twitter said that he was like his best mates with the New Japan promoter Gedo. And he's been I can shit can your career with like one email or whatever it was to Omega. It's like, you mad bastard. No, it works, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. And I've brought on to the Rainmaker.
Oh yes. See,
with
sorry, go on, mate.
I'm gonna say no. It was a decent match again. Like for me, it wasn't on par with like a Mega Ricardo last year, but it was a decent match. But I think it was going to be. It was like WrestleMania 18. It was going to be hard to like when they did Rock Hogan, and then followed up with Trips Jericho. Like it was going to be hard to do Omega Jericho and then have the title match after that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense.
I thought it worked quite well.
Oh yeah, it was still a great match to follow it up, but like you say, it's
match. It was that thing of something that's like I've always said years after over WrestleMania is like there's always that thing of crowd burnout, and if you WrestleMania 18 especially, even though it's a brilliant pay per view, if you go back and watch it, the crowd is dead.
Yeah,
like,
because they burnt themselves out, haven't they, for the Rock Hogan match? So out of 10, how much would you score it?
What's the Meltzer rating? So Meltzer gave what was it? He goes with however many stars. So I'm going to give it 11. But it's one louder. This to 11.
All right. So what did Meltzer actually give? Is actually rated these yet?
I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of, but I'm not 100% sure.
I was giving like 6 and 7 star matches out. I'm going with like the Spinal Tap reference to go. This one goes up to 11.
Yeah, more than likely. But yeah, so I reckon that's going to easily be. It's the first event of the year, and I think it's probably going to be the best of the year.
Well, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. Sort of like the reputation precedes it. That if there's one wrestling show to really look out for, it's Wrestle Kingdom. And obviously, if you've somehow been living under a rock for the past 2 days and have not yet seen this show, go and watch this show.
Absolutely. Yes. If you're, what would you say if you was a wrestling newbie? Would you say catch the show or?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because the best thing about it, because it's my first time ever watching anything from New Japan, and so I had no idea who was who, what was what, and everything leading up to it, and there was nothing there. It was 2 wrestlers going at it, or the 4-way going at it. So it was just like, oh, this okay. So I have no biased way of looking at it. So it was a case of watching it and going, oh yeah, I like him. Oh wow, he's done some really good moves. Oh, I thought that was a fantastic match. Hats off to the pair of them for pulling that off. There wasn't there going, well, Chris Jericho did a really, really shit match. That was dire of him to do that. This is, and he only seemed to be played along by Omega and all this stuff, and it was none of that. So it was quite nice to see.
Yeah, I've sort of seen it. I've only seen overwhelmingly positive things said about this. So, but yeah, we can leave it at that. Just say, go watch this pay-per-view. It is fucking amazing, and it's worth your subscription to New Japan World.
Absolutely.
Even if you don't watch another show for the rest of the year, I think it is worth your £6.50.
I have got a sneaking suspicion that the rating's going to drop from everything else, and New Japan after that show is going to skyrocket.
Well, they've already. So just to extend the New Japan talk a little bit, they had the highest attendance of a Wrestle Kingdom in, I believe it's 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
And the New Japan World subscriptions have gone up by 25,000, so they're close to like 100,000 subscribers for New Japan World,
which is insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, kudos to New Japan. Well played.
And an interesting fact for Okada: if he has 3 more successful defenses, he will be the most successful defenses on one holding of the belt, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like the most consecutive title defenses of a single reign, I think it is.
Yeah, Tanahashi is coming late 11 and Okada's at 9.
I think it's I think the record will be broken if he successfully defends it. Well, if he doesn't lose it before and obviously retains it Dominion. I think that's where the record is.
Oh, and one more little thing. It's always nice to see and hear that every fight Zed wrestler has, it's always a title match until he loses the title.
Or there's a genuine storyline behind it.
Yeah, which is actually really nice to see. And it's how it should be, in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, rate it, go for it, watch it, love it, basically. So yeah, we'll move on from there. I was trying to try and fit this into the first half of the show, but unfortunately, obviously, we've gushed about Wrestle Kingdom.
Carry on if you want.
I'm going to do this now. Now, I've been looking at this drink for months, and it's always been like looking at me on the shelf, and it's like, you must try me for your show. And today I caved. Today,
good, because I really thought you said today you finally came.
Would this be relating to a certain Monty Python skit?
Hello? I don't know. You're going to have to help me out here.
In what way?
If I was to go spam, baked beans and...
No.
Oh, please tell me you know what Monty Python is.
I know what Monty Python is, but I've not seen much of.
Oh dear.
I may need to.
Right,
sort that out.
In that case, go online, search all the Monty Python films or shows, and you have to do a review in 6 weeks' time.
Of all of them?
Of your favourite.
Oh, of my favourite. Okay, fair enough. I think I made it. I could do that.
Because that's just bang out of order. 30, what? You're 32? 32 years old?
32.
32 years old, and you've only seen bits of Monty Python.
Yeah.
Dear God. No, that's me having a fallout over Coxie. Not like jerk sauce.
On the topic of this as well, well, not of that, but of Paul not seeing Monty Python, I have got friends who didn't know what the more cowbell bit was from Saturday Night Live till I showed.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I'm probably one of them.
Oh dear God.
Oh. Right, go on, drink your poison or whatever it is.
Yes.
Drink your antifreeze.
But yes, I have a drink, mate. It's called by a company called Amazing Forest. Yeah, this
Have you inspected this forest?
Well, if you're talking about that, what's his name off YouTube? Then no, not like him.
No.
What's he fucking called?
I knew there was something. I knew there was something to drag this down. Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, yes. Well, let's not start on that dickhead.
Yeah, well, I'm the best thing he can do is just give it no attention.
Yeah, exactly.
It's already got enough attention as it is.
Yeah, as long as he just fucking buries himself, that's all that matters. Yes. Birch water, I've got hold of. Birch water, this is called. Birch water with, is it Hilberry?
Lady Garden.
Bilberry. It's the way the font is. Bilberry. 100% organic. So,
So it's from a lady garden.
It comes from it comes from a lady garden. Ingredients: 80% organic birch sap and 20% organic bilberry puree.
Oh, by the way, if you like this, I'm calling you a hummingbird from now on.
It's not from concentrate, and you have to shake it well before use. The fact that they use the word use rather than consumption is a bit worrying.
Yeah.
It comes in a glass bottle. Smash. Energy, it's for the whole bottle because it's 250ml. It's only 28 calories for the entire bottle.
And
it's vegan friendly.
It's going to be shit then.
Yeah. I'll just read you the description on it. It says, the amazing forest, goodness from the forest. Our organic bilberries, Vacanium materialis, whatever that fucking is in Latin, are handpicked in ecologically clean forest in Belarus. Birch sap is also collected there, and only for 3 weeks per year from mature birch trees. With the addition of bilberry puree, this drink really does offer you goodness from the forest.
So basically, what you just said there in simplified terms, it's made by a bunch of hippies thinking it's great drinking trees.
Pretty much. So, yeah. So, the natural values can vary during the season from which year to another. So basically, it could be any fucking thing in this bottle. It looks like blackberry juice. But there is a clear one as well, which is unflavoured. So, what I think I'm going to have to do is do this one, and then the next show, I am going to have to try the clear one, aren't I?
Yeah.
I'm straight, you do.
So,
so
let's open this shit up. It's got it's got like a metal lid, sort of like a traditional like Heinz sauce sort of like lid. So hopefully you'll hear it pop when I open it up. No, maybe not, but you can hear it rattling.
So basically, it's a bottle of Purdy's.
Pretty much. Right, so I'm going to sniff this now, see what it smells like.
Shit.
Unfortunately, due to my cold, I can't smell fuck all. So I can't actually tell you what it smells like. My nose basically not working.
Is your missus there?
She's just gone upstairs, unfortunately. But for the first half, she was here, so just very quiet in the background. But it just doesn't really smell of anything because obviously my nose is all fucked. So unfortunately, I can't tell you what it smells like. Fucking for cough.
I've got a slight problem with this taste test.
Go on.
You're full of cold. Your taste buds aren't going to be on top form.
Well, this is it, but we shall see. I'm hoping the flavour's going to be that strong that it actually cause some sort of reaction. So, but the thing is, though, I've never had birch water, and I've never had bilberry before.
Bilberry's well nice.
So, I'm going to try it now. Here we go. It's no bits in it. It's dead smooth. It basically looks like I say, it looks like Ribena, if anything. So, here we go. I'm going to try it now. Right. It's not unpleasant. It really isn't that unpleasant. It's pretty tasteless.
Now, are we blaming the whole fact that you're full of cold? Or,
it could be that. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try another sip of it now. Right. I'm going to call that inconclusive.
Call your missus down, tell her to try it.
Josh, I would do. I think she's gone to bed.
What, 9:45?
Yeah. Some people like her early, but go to bed early. I'm not one of them.
I know I should really follow suit, to be honest with you, but here I am.
Here you are. Yeah, exactly.
Here I am.
It's not deeply unpleasant. It really isn't. Now, tell you what I will do. What I might do is I might see if the missus will try some tomorrow, and I will get it on record, and I will upload it as a soundbite for the next show.
Ooh.
So I'll see if she does it. If she does and she's willing, I'll do it and I'll put it on the show. Because I'll be honest with you, it's pretty inconclusive because obviously the cold is fucking all my senses up. So I couldn't smell anything. So obviously half your taste is your smell, isn't it? If not more. So
yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, so unfortunately I couldn't get a decent taste of it. What I tasted then, it tasted very watery, and there wasn't much taste to it. It's dead smooth. It's not like there's any bits in it. It's basically got the similar consistency to basically any juice that you would drink. Basically, a bit watered down, maybe.
I think I may have to come over tomorrow and try it.
So yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, it's not the great. I'll be honest with you, it's not the greatest. It's not the most inoffensive thing I've ever tried. But I am wanting to try it when I've actually got 100% well, and not got a cold. So we shall see. We'll give it another whirl anyway. I'll stick it in the fridge. See if someone will try it tomorrow.
Alan, are you keeping an eye on the NFL playoffs?
I am.
Okay, just double checking.
Yes, the playoffs this year has been an interesting leading up to, should say. So the playoff draft's finally announced. I'm just getting it up now. Bear with me because it's actually quite good.
I've got it.
I'll find it in a second. I bet it's coming off for me. Right, the playoffs. Now, if you don't understand NFL,
which I don't.
Right. So each area of the US has a division. So you've got your northern side and you've got your I can't remember which colours, it's Atlantic side or something like that. And
NFC division and AFC division.
That's it. So each of them segmented off to like an area of your where you live. So each fights for so it's grand totaling. It's like 6, 7, or 8 teams per division, and so you're always going to have a winner from that division, a winner from another division, pulled into the playoffs from each side, and then you have your runners up that gets pulled in. They're known as wild cards. So this year on the NFL playoffs. We have on the northern side, we've got let's get this up. So you got the Falcons.
Atlanta Falcons.
Yep. So they're in, and you got the Rams. Carry on. You're supposed to say the full.
Yeah, I don't know. Los Angeles Rams.
That's it. Panthers.
Carolina Panthers.
Yep. Saints.
New Orleans.
Well done. And then you got your first round buys, which ones are your 2 top teams on each side who won their division by a clear certain amount of points. So then you've got your Vikings,
Minnesota,
Eagles,
Philadelphia. Right,
so they're your playoffs for that side. So on that side playoffs, you've got your Falcons versus Rams, your Panthers versus Saints.
That's the West, isn't it? Or is it?
No, that's in North Division.
Oh, right. No bad.
Okay, so that's now big one division. Tell you what, it's fucking complicated, but once you get your head around it, it's relatively simple. Whoever wins out then plays your first round buys. So they play the champions of said division. On your AFC side, you've got your Buffaloes,
Buffalo Bills.
Yep. Jaguars.
Jaguars. Jacksonville.
Yep. I can't remember this one. Tennessee.
It's Tennessee Titans, isn't it?
It is, yes. You got your Titans, and then you got your Chiefs.
Kansas City, which is the game that's going on at the moment.
Yep. So your Bills are versing Jaguars, your Titans versus Chiefs, and then whoever wins out of them plays either in your first round buys your New England Patriots, wankers. No one wants them to win, and your Pittsburgh Steelers. So hopefully it should be a good lineup. No one wants the New England Patriots to win because everyone hates Tom Brady because he's a cheating bastard. And it could be a good lead up to the Super Bowl. There's lots of people throwing out ideas. A lot of people going down the Rams to win the whole lot because they've been playing extremely good this year. But then again, people want the Steelers to win because they've been an all-out, all-good round team this year. The defense are on form. Their attacks on form. The lineups, their play, all their plays, all the segment plays that goes up to, it's been on top form. So hopefully that should be leading up to the big game. So another quick look. NFC division winners, of course, is NFC 1 was the Vikings, NFC South Saints, East. It's all relatively simple. So yeah, good luck.
It's simple if you can see the playoff brackets, which I've got in front of me at the moment.
works out better. So I may stick that up on the group's Facebook page for you all to look at.
I'll go for it. But, I mean, there's something I wouldn't mind starting trying to get interested into American football.
Best thing you can do is to come round to someone who knows enough to get you through to understand the basics. This Super Bowl should be a good one for you if you get a chance to come round to ours, because I normally have Matt over. Lewis is starting. It's contemplating coming over for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be over for this year's Super Bowl.
I'll give it a whirl. And when is the Super Bowl this year?
February 4th.
Yeah, 4th February. It's a Sunday.
I'll try and get my arse round. I know, obviously, like I say, I'm not a massive American football fan, but I don't mind watching things like that.
But the best thing about
try and learn.
Yeah.
The
best thing. Well, go on.
I was going to say, I saw a thing this morning, Bootleg Social put up there showing the Super Bowl on the 4-metre screen. I think it's £20 per person.
Oh, wow.
It's only no. It's limited to 30 people, and you get unlimited Budweiser and unlimited chicken.
Oh fuck!
How fucking American do you need to be?
Heavy breathing.
Yeah, you're all right. But no, Super Bowl's one of those shows that anyone can watch. So you got your newbies mixed in with the people that watch it all the time. Any questions you can ask, we'll throw you the answers, or we'll guide you into the knowledge. Everything from how they go around doing the offense against the defense, what's sacking, what's the fouls. So the main foul is like helmet pulling. So when you if you actually look at an American football helmet, it's got I call them bull bars.
Helmet pull is something I've got to do for the doctors.
Dirty bastard. So your face guard on it, you grab that down and pull someone down. That's known as face pulling. Everything from high tackle, low tackles, all sorts, snatching. There's loads of stuff, but I'll say about 10 years ago, I always thought American football, it's just rugby for girls. And then I actually saw the tactics side of it, and that's what got me into it more, and understanding each and every person's position in the team, what they're going to do, how they actually work out gameplays and all that stuff. So I quite like the tactical side of it.
I remember someone describing it as chess on a field.
More or less, yeah. So, prime example. your coach turns over to you. This is the offense side. Your coach turns over to you. Right, we're going to do a pass to your right receiver. So, of course, that is your quarterback throwing it to your right receiver, who's going to peg it down past the
touchline.
No, it could be anything from the touchline or to your first innings. So if you actually look in the game on the TV, you go like it's it's your first and down, second and down, fourth and down. So like that. So it's how many times you try to get over a certain point. If you fail to get over that, you have to
hand the ball over.
Hand the ball over, basically. So they call it a punting. But sometimes you can cheat. It says you can do what we call a blitz, whereas you can pretend to punt it, and then you go and run it, see if you get past over a certain point. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. The defence is to work out what's their best defence to stop that ball getting to that right receiver. So if they read it wrong, and they're going up for what we call a man blocker, so a guy who's going to run with the ball over the line instead of throwing it, they've basically left the receiver out wide who's going to catch the ball and carry on down, hopefully for a touchline, for a touchdown, stuff like that. So it is, a lot of people say it's for big dumb Americans who are thick as pig shit, rednecks, watching a whole lot of guys beat the shit out of each other. It's not that. And the more that gets over that stereotypical look on it, the better, because it's good. It's a good game to follow.
Fair dues. I'll say we'll have to try that out on, Super Bowl.
Come with us because you just sit. Yeah, you just come with us because we just sit there and just start throwing profanities at people. Says, why the fuck have they done that? Dozy bastards.
Works for me.
But then the halftime show, the lineup tends to be quite shit, so we just kind of turn it off and make our own commentary about it. Piss break. It's a fucking half an hour piss break, mate. It's a half an hour. Like last year, they had Lady Gaga on it, and she did an epic crowd dive, and it was just like the memes that came off that. It was just unbelievably hilarious. But it's worth watching.
How long's like a half or whatever?
All depends. Right, so it's set up in 4 quarters. Usually about 15 minutes per quarter. But the problem is being 15 minutes per quarter, every time the gameplay stops, the clock stops.
Yeah, I know that bit.
So you got to think of the prep up. So that's what makes the game longer and longer and longer. So you can have literally a game that lasts maybe 3-4 hours, but then you can have a really short game where the gameplay is constant and all that. It's like tennis. You got to think of it like that, in the sense of tennis. It all depends on how quick they play and how long it's going to take. Towards the end of each quarter, they have what we call a 2-minute warning, which kind of they stop the play. So they have a quick huddle, say, well, what's the planned attack for the next 2 minutes? That usually extends it longer. Then you've got your half time, and you carry on doing your next quarter, and then final end. So, yeah.
It was only asking because if he has like a laptop or can somehow lug his computer to yours and takes his Blue Yeti around. Live alternate commentary of the NFL.
Possibly. A beginner's commentary.
The worst thing about any NFL game is the adverts. There's always adverts. Every 30 seconds, advert. Or go up to the desk and they'll talk about that last gameplay that's just happened. Or, Tom Brady's not doing so well, criticize everything. Could always do a mini little segment there saying like, oh, how would you feel about this last gameplay? You're like, yeah, it was all right. So if you want to do a bit by bit podcast on it, you can do. It's not a problem.
Yeah, could do. It's a possibility. We'll see how we feel.
And the best thing is, with it being shown on BBC Two, because you don't normally get shown on BBC Two in the UK, you get like live Twitter feeds to them asking about certain rules, and I'm a new person, I don't understand this, and they'll explain it to you. So that's pretty good. So the little breaks, advert breaks for them, they'll put that in, so it's quite entertaining. It's an easy sport to pick up, and the problem is there is no the world's greatest team, the best team ever. Each one has their own up-and-comings. Now, I've always been a 49ers fan, San Francisco 49ers, but they've been playing absolutely dire over the last 5 years. So I've kind of switched to Indianapolis Colts. And they've been playing really, really shit. So at the moment, it's just like every time I pick a team, they just turn shit.
You're a fucking curse. That's what your problem is.
Yeah, but the problem is, I left the 49ers to follow someone else. They sacked their coach, and all of a sudden, they've won 7 games straight.
So it's like you've left your ex-girlfriend to get with another girl, and your ex-girlfriend gets plastic surgery and looks fucking stunning now.
Yeah, so it's just like, what the fuck? What the hell's going on here? So, but as I said, each team there is no great team. It's all about what we call the first draft. So, beginning of every game, anyone who isn't signed into a contract gets put into a draft. The worst teams get to pick the first players. Or was it the last players? I can't remember. It's one of the two. And they pick out players who they want. So, after the drafting's completely happened and the season, what we call the pre-seasons, to see if their team plays well, they're basically shouting from a great height. So one to watch out for is the Cleveland Browns, which was the worst team in 10 years because they basically lost every game of the season. I mean, they spectacularly lost every game of the season. And they basically just like because they had such a shit lineup and they've sacked the coach. So hopefully next year they can pick themselves back up again. So it is literally one big, massive, I hope my team plays well this year. So, but you can have like teams at New England Patriots because they do what we call a long signing contract. So instead of being like, oh, your contract's with 3 years, so they'll do like a 5 to 10 year contract. Tom Brady, the controversial quarterback of New England Patriots, he's won the Super Bowl 5 times, and hopefully he's going for his 6th one this year. That we really don't want to hope. The reason he's so controversial and he's got caught cheating because he deflated the football so he could throw it better.
Okay.
So he got reprimanded for that, and there was a fraud case as well, and he got sent down for that for briefly as well, if I remember rightly. And of course, normally you get like UK football. He gets sent down for something, you tend not to come back. But no, the New England Patriots snapped him straight back up again because he was contracted to carry on playing.
Fair enough.
So it's fucked up.
That's America for you.
As it says, because it's such a brutal sport, you think, oh shit, we've got a massive cracking lineup here. This is amazing. We've got possibly one of the best teams going. Oh look, your 3 of your star players are injured. They've done the shouldering or they've done the legging or anything like that, and it could fuck up the season. So it is just it is one of those games where it's like fingers crossed for your team and how are you going to play this. So if any American fans listening to us, hopefully you get your input in, and if we do the live feed of the RAD podcast does the NFL does the Super Bowl, please put your input in, and it'll be great to listen to what you guys say or read what you guys say, because yeah, it could be entertaining, it could be a really good idea, especially if you get it from the British perspective.
Yes,
because myself, I see it on a rugby perspective, so I go like, well, I wouldn't have done that. I would have done this and put my rugby head on and how I would play rugby in this situation. Whereas Matt, who's a massive NFL, but he's a massive NHL fan, hockey, he says, oh, I'll just do this. And you get quite a few little I wouldn't say arguments, but like slight disagreements of like, oh, how would you do this tactically? How would you do that? And how would you get down to sack Tom Brady? Because he holds the record for being sacked in the most Super Bowl match last year. He got sacked 8. There was a couple of guys in the crowd last year of Atlanta Falcons, and every time they got sacked, they keep putting in, like a number up how many times he got sacked. If you know what sacking is, it's basically when the defense breaks through the line and gets the quarterback before he throws the ball. That's known as sacking. So it takes him down. So he's been sacked to the ground. So, yeah, there you go.
Fair enough. Right, well.
Right, fellas, before you move on, I'm going to call it a night because, as I said earlier in the show, I am up at crack of dawn for work tomorrow.
Yes,
yes,
it's been a pleasure.
Okay, fellas, not a problem. Take it easy.
Bye, Lewis.
Bye. Right, and on that note, I think I'm going to start off on our last topic because we have been going for 2 hours now.
Oh, is that it?
And because we have been going a while. And it's a topic that's come up not just from one source but another, and it's basically there was a status that came up. I don't know if Coxie, you got tagged in this yesterday by somebody, and it was the owner of Hope Wrestling. Is it Drew Gale? Not Drew Gale, because Drew Gale's the councillor for Preston. Harvey Dale.
I didn't get tagged in this, so you're going to have to elaborate.
Right, well, it was asking for tips on how to start... Well, not tips, but how to start a podcast from scratch. Now, obviously, I left what I did on the in the conversation. Now, just before we came on air, a couple of hours ago, before we came on air, our friend from Preston City Wrestling, Anthony Robert, who... Well, he's not been to a show for a while, but every now and then he's one of Mateus's friends, I believe, as well.
Yeah, he's the problem with Tony was he had a lot of cricket matches. That's why he's not able to go.
This is it. So yeah, he was messaging. He says he wants to start a podcast himself and how to go about doing it. So I thought, do you know what? Instead of answering there and then, I said to him to listen to the show. And we'll give him an answer on the show because obviously I've got Adam here who's also set up himself a podcast from scratch, but he did it slightly different from me. So, what I want to know, I mean, Alan, you may have some input in this. I don't know if you've any idea, but tips and ways to start off a podcast from scratch, basically. Adam, what would you say would be the best starting point to start a podcast from scratch?
To quote Tommy, what's he called? Tommy, is it Wiseau?
Tommy Wiseau, or whatever his name is.
Wazoo, I don't know.
The dickhead from the room.
Yeah. Someone tweeted him saying, how would I start writing a screenplay or something? And his one word reply, start.
Yeah.
Yeah, so start writing.
So basically, it's basically to get the ball rolling, you need to give it a push. Basically, and what you need to do by is start by thinking and getting an idea of what you want to do for your podcast.
As we say in sort of like, because I do judo and that, one of the sort of key things that we get told is every journey starts with a single step.
Yeah. In the case of my podcast, I was just thinking, well, at the time when I first started podcasting, it was WrestleBox, and I got inspiration from another wrestling podcast, and I thought, do you know what? I like listening to this podcast. I enjoy talking about wrestling. I'll start my own podcast, and that was me getting my first step along the way by talking to people who was like-minded as me to see if they wanted to talk about wrestling. Namely, it was Darren, it was Alan, and it was Mateus. And Lewis jumped in towards the end of the run. And that's how we got it going. We got talking and then got the ideas going. I don't know how it was for you, Coxie.
It was strange for me, because it was the thing of like... what was it? Like I kept saying to myself, for about 2 or 3 years before I started doing it, it's like, I'm gonna look into podcasting soon. I'm gonna start a podcast and I'm gonna look into it. And it's like, this whole thing of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna start. I've got a microphone, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And I just kept sort of putting it off. It's like, well, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I don't know how I'd do it. I don't know what to do with iTunes and all that sort of thing. And I started looking into it, and it was only for, I think I was looking at Podbean as a host, and it's like, oh, it's this much a month, whatever. At the time, I couldn't have afforded. I think that was probably about 2 or 3 years ago, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was only, well, it was 3 years, probably about 2 or 3 years ago from when I actually started. So you're looking about 4 years ago now, or whatever. So I just sort of started writing stuff down. It was like, at one point, I had an idea for a wrestling show like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's sort of that thing of like, I can't just talk about wrestling. Even though this show has been like 90% of it's been Wrestle Kingdom, whatever.
Yeah, it's been a very wrestling heavy show. This one, the first one in 2018, has been a very wrestling heavy show. But that's only because every single person in the program this week has been massive wrestling fans and has been a massive wrestling event. So it was the same last year when we talked about WrestleMania and things like that. So it's just one of them. It's what we talk about. We talk about what we want to talk about. And wrestling is just one of our many interests. Now, obviously, you were just saying, what could I talk about? And the only answer I could really give would be whatever the fuck you're interested in. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're into embroidery, talk about it. If you enjoy talking about taxidermy for some reason, talk about taxidermy. There'll be people out there that want to listen to how taxidermy is. For some random reason, there's a massive fan base listening to fucking true crime. You know, it's one of them.
Yeah, if you actually go on like podcast groups and that seems to be the thing at the moment.
It's been the thing for the past couple of years, mate. Everyone just seems to listen to true crime over and over and over and over and over again. And they seem to talk about the same people over and over and over again. But now I'm starting to sound like I'm shooting, so I'm not answering the question. But yeah, basically, to start off with, like you say, Adam, is to get an idea, isn't it?
Yeah, it's essentially part of what I was told for me writing my personal statement I'm working on at the moment was sort of, what was it? He said, one of my judo coaches said to me, he's like, get a piece of paper and some things and write stuff that you're interested in, or he said, you don't have to be good at them or whatever, and all this. And he's like, just get a piece of paper and some scissors and that, write down all these different things, and then sort of leave a space between them, cut them out, and then sort of make a story from them. But like, even if it was simply as something like you're picking a topic like, I don't know, fucking taxidermy or whatever, like you said, for example.
Yeah.
There in front of you, grab something, whether it's a fucking hairbrush or your phone. Even now, if you've got a smartphone, you can record voice memos of yourself. So record yourself or whatever, talking. Even if you have to write it, script it first and just record yourself talking, so you get into the habit of talking about that thing, and then sort of then start timing yourself and seeing if it's long enough for whatever. Because, you know, sometimes podcasts are apparently too long, but...
Well, this is it. This will be one of them.
It's that thing of just know what you want to talk about and then be passionate about it.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is why I say don't talk about something that you're not passionate about. I mean, at the same time, don't make it your life either. For example, when I started with WrestleBox, I absolutely loved it. I absolutely adored it. I enjoyed talking about wrestling on a weekly basis, having a crack with my mates, and giving content out for people to listen to. But the problem with that was, at the time, I was reviewing as well as, you know, getting all the information about wrestling to bring to the show. And it took a lot of the enjoyment out of the thing that I enjoyed. Even to the point where 2 years down the line, I've still not really fully recovered from that. And it's because of all the hard work that you have to put into that if it's something specific, like wrestling. But if you're prepared to do the work and the legwork and do that weekly or whatever the time period you choose to do so, it can be really rewarding. This is why I ended up changing what podcast I did. Was just of the subject matter. Not that I disliked wrestling, it was just the fact that I couldn't put the work in that I needed to do to make the show a quality show, or at least that's what I thought. It
comes out of the thing at the end of the day as well, sort of. There's things you need, like sort of, you need an idea of what you want to do. Mm-hmm. You need an idea of what you want it to be about. You need an idea of what it's going to be called. You need an idea for your logo. You need an idea for where you're going to host it. You need an idea for how you're going to advertise it and market it. You need an idea for fucking every little bit.
Even the length of the podcast. I mean, everything that you need to think about what you want to do and how you're going to do it.
There's that, but then it's sort of also factored down. There's a lot of people I see where I've been podcasting for a month now, and I'm not really getting many listens. I've only had about 10 listens in total. Well, how many episodes have you done? 2. Okay, where you promoted it? Just on here. And who's listening? It's who's listening to it? Oh, it's my friends and family. Well, who else knows about it? Well, I've not really done that much with it yet. It's like, and you can't complain. You've only got 10 listens, and it's your fucking family. Sort of thing. Like, you got to be willing to put in the time and effort to market it.
And then share it, which is why I go dead anal at people when they don't share on the group.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was going to say, it can be a very slow process. Like, when I started, I think the first episode the first week it got something like 10 listens or something. But only because I literally hauled the shit out of it online. Mm-hmm. Currently now it's sitting at... I can find my stats.
This is just your first episode, isn't it?
This is the very first episode I did, which was a solo episode I did.
Oh, the little podcast, mini-pod, podcasts.
So it's at 136 plays and 32 listens.
See, if I highlight... I would have to log in. But I think I'm on around about 200 total for our first one. So, we're about the same. But you have to, like I say, you have to market, and you have to... You're not market necessarily. You need to advertise in places such as podcasting sharing groups and things like that. But what you also need to plan on, though, as well, is your equipment. What you need to use, what you're going to do. Now, when you look at all these podcasting sort of setups, you see people with all these fucking massive mics, beams coming out of fucking every orifice and wall and everything. They've got pop filters and things like that. Reality is, you don't need all that. Yes, it's nice to have all that stuff. Sometimes you don't need to sneeze on the microphone, but all you do need is a way of inputting your voice into a digital form. And the first 2 episodes of RAD, I did on a backup microphone because I didn't have anything else at the time. It was a microphone from Poundland. Fucking Poundland. On an antique laptop. Because I had nothing else.
There's that, but it's that thing of you... the more you invest, or whatever, as you go along, the more growth you will see out of it, or whatever.
Well, this is it.
Yeah, if you're doing a pod on a £1 mic, and you're uploading or whatever, you're doing like a 10-minute episode, and you don't know what you're doing with Audacity or whatever Reaper or whatever editor you use, it's going to come off and sound shit.
This is true, and obviously you can tell if you listen back, the audio quality is not the greatest on my microphone. If you listen now, obviously I've put a little bit of money. I'm not saying it's professional amounts of money into my microphone, but you can tell the difference.
It's gone from £1 to £5.
Exactly, I've gone from £6 to £40 for a microphone. So it's a decent branded one as well. And I never do shit like that. I always try and do stuff as cheap as possible. But I'm coming to the realisation, through doing podcasts, you are going to have to spend the money to get a new equipment and upgrade it just so you sound more professional and sound much more clearer and more able to, just through the fact that your audio quality is better, you can articulate your points better because people aren't going, what are you saying? And not getting annoyed about that fact. And it's just a nicer experience all round. You also get a bit of personal satisfaction when you realise you've spent the money and you listen back to one episode before you spent the money. And you listen to an episode after you spent the money and you can tell the difference. It's unbelievable. So, to begin starting podcasting, I would say it doesn't matter too much on your budget, but think ahead and think about upgrading your equipment as best you can to a point where you're happy with the quality. And if you're happy with the quality, then obviously stick with it. If you're getting the listener count that you're happy with, stick with it. But if you want to invest, then do so. I don't think there's any such thing as too much investment, really.
I'm going to go back to this thing here of sort of then your best, in that sort of sense, then your best are maybe starting with a £1 mic and recording yourself and listening back to yourself. You will probably hate you will hate listening to yourself, and you'll be there, oh, do I really sound like that? I didn't know I sounded like that before. I don't like the sound of my own voice and all that bollocks. And then it's that sort of thing, it's like, well, you can go, oh, well, I don't think this is going to be for me. You've only lost £1 on a mic, whereas you could go out and get a kit like I've got. Mm-hmm. And if you decide it's not for you, then you just wasted 80, 100 quid or whatever, and, it's... You can probably use it for when you're gaming or whatever, if you do your online gaming, but you're not going to get much else out of it.
This is it. I mean, like I say, it's probably better to not spend as little as possible to see if it's a game for you. which is what I pretty much did.
Does anyone want my input?
Yeah, go for it.
Right. So, I think everything's been touched by Adam and Paul. But my input is look at the area you're wanting to do your podcast. So, say your friend here wants to do a wrestling podcast, right? What in your area where you live? How many other people are doing a wrestling podcast? Can you think you can do better? Are you able to get because you're a wrestling production, are you able to get other wrestlers to come in to do an interview maybe? Do you have that edge on other podcasts? So yeah, I wouldn't.
Can I just jump in? I wouldn't necessarily say it's about the area that you're in, because obviously you're doing a podcast. The nature of the beast is you're online. So in theory, I could compete. If this is obviously this is an opinion show. That is what we're doing now. It's an opinion show, and say somebody in Japan is doing a similar show. It doesn't necessarily mean we're competing, but we're technically doing the same thing. So in reality, that we could be taking listeners off each other. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the local area. Obviously, we have a host on the show that lives in the middle of Scotland, in the middle of fucking nowhere.
No, but what I'm trying to imply is because that person has a wrestling production, he can have that edge on other shows. In that sense, I'm talking about the area, not the area where you live in, but the area of what you want to do.
You mean your topic?
Yeah, your topic area, where you want to do things. Because there's nothing worse than going, I really fancy listening to a wrestling show, and you got to pick between 15,000 wrestling shows. It's like,
which unfortunately there is in that genre.
Yeah, it's just like great. Maybe I could twist it a bit, so I can have wrestling, but maybe I can input like football or maybe some other sports that I'm interested in. You got to think how broad you want to be. If you just want to be just wrestling, that's great. Off you go, compete yourself, but look for that little thing that you can make unique for your podcast. So with us, we do taste tests, we do challenges, we do. Not many other people do pubcasts, where we go off to a pub, sit down, chat shit, get pissed. Yeah. Literally.
They will now.
So
they will now. That concept's actually been moved to a couple of other podcasts that we have noticed.
Yeah, so other people have taken that idea. I'm thinking, shit, well, that's a really good idea. We can imply that with our unique things. So because with all our co-hosts, we have so many different topics. Everything from gaming to NFL to let's bitch about Trump to how much fun is it to rip into King Jong-un and all that jazz.
This is it.
So we
NH370 and things like that.
Exactly. We have no holds barred in our group, and that's the best thing. That's our unique little thing we can do.
And this is, like I say, sorry to point. This is another tip that we can possibly throw in there: is be as unique as you possibly can. I mean, there's not. Obviously, we've got a big cast lineup. We have, like I say, obviously you've got me. We have Coxie, who's technically a guest host, but he's now permanent, sort of thing. We have obviously we've got Lewis, who comes in every now and again. We have yourself, Alan. We have, Xander, and whoever else decides to tag along. Yeah. There's not many podcasts I know out there that have at least 5 regular hosts that appear all the time at the same time online. Exactly. You know what? I was going to say, sometimes we do rip on Darren, and sometimes we do rip on him for sometimes being unreliable or this, that, and the other. But he does have his own unique twist to things. He has his own point. Yeah, he has his own point of view. He has his own way of doing things, and it's something unique. But
yeah, you could also imply: do you want to bring your friends in to do the podcast? Do you want to do it on your own? Do you reckon you could do an interview with someone, or you just want that one-to-one connection? It's loads of people. The good one to throw out there: Joe Rogan. He's a massive podcaster over in the States, as you guys know fair well. Mm-hmm. He does it usually with his best mate. Occasionally get other people in. But he's there with his best mate. Talk shit, get someone else in for an interview. Talk shit again, get someone else in an interview. And he has that rolling through. And that's his little success thing, because he sees everything. All right, he mostly just does the UFC and mixed martial arts and all that jazz, but he does look at other bigger pictures, and maybe you can do that, touch it on. So say wrestling, right? So I've got Joe Bloggs from Newcastle. He's just become a professional wrestler. He's just stepped up from wrestling school and all that jazz. He wants to advertise that he's available for bookings. You have a podcast that you do get, all right, 10, 15 listeners when you started off. Maybe get that on. Publicize his wanting to wrestle. He gets the invitations to, say, PCW, Alpha Omega, ICW, all your promotions around the UK. Maybe he can advertise your podcast because you advertised him. You've got to think of connections as well. So you get the advertising, he gets the advertising, everyone's all happy. It's like our podcasts get advertised on a few pub pages. So Reflex here in Blackpool, I think the Brew Room's done an advertising for us, haven't they?
I think they've thanked us. Yeah, they've posted on their page, I believe, haven't they? Coxie?
Yeah. So.
Possibly, I can't remember.
So it's all about helping each other out. You'll listen to most podcast groups that advertise other podcasts, maybe get in contact with other podcasts saying, "Hey, I'm just starting out."
Mm-hmm. Which is what we did with these people, because they were after guest hosts. Now, obviously, I put myself down to be a guest host on their show nearly a year ago now.
Yeah, and
unfortunately, things didn't work out because of technology at the time. If they choose to have a guest host again, I've obviously got better technology. I can do it this time. But obviously, we built a relationship there, and we've been promoting each other. We've grown a little bit thanks to them. So I'll say thank you to these people for that. But
yeah, exactly.
It's another lesson learned. It's networking.
Advertise, promote yourself, get yourself out of there. If there's something happening in your town centre, like a chili festival, maybe go and get some, make up some flyers, or go to like Vista or whatever it is. You like $5.99, you get 200 cards. Get them done, hand them out. The more you get noticed, the bigger your podcast become, the more influence you'll get into it. You've got to think you're not going to just turn up on a podcast and boom, you've got 1,000 listeners. It's not going to be like that.
That's probably more further down the road.
You start off small.
To start off, I'd say don't worry about that right now. When you've got a couple of episodes down and there's people asking for guest hosts, maybe that's your time to say, look, I'm a new aspiring podcaster. Can I come on your show, talk the shit with you guys, and maybe promote myself a little bit? And obviously, I'll promote myself appearing on your show, on my show, and hopefully we'll get both get a bit of listeners going each direction. You know, so that's how I can say co-promotion is obviously everyone benefits at the end, but you get a bit more exposure. They get a little bit more exposure. And you you both get a bit of growth that way, and also
exactly.
You can also you'll also pick up more tips off other people that way as well.
Yeah, you end up being friends.
Well, this is
with the podcast. Look at us and Coxie. Coxie's with his Lost Art podcasting. Us with RAD. We've just turned into one big ass happy family. Do our 2 separate podcasts, but every now and again we appear on each other's shows. Well, Coxie can't
all the time.
Yeah, he's our permanent guest.
Yes.
So it happens. All I can say is look at the area you're doing, what you can add to the area, how well you can advertise, what's your promotion towards it, and what can you offer people that other people can't offer. There you go. That's me.
They're going to say the other thing you need to think about is your host, isn't it, Coxie?
Your host. Oh, yeah. Your provider sort of thing.
Yeah, so where are you putting your podcast, basically?
Down to budget at the end of the day, if anything. Like, I know there's cheap ones where it's you can upload as much as you want for free and all this sort of thing, but then obviously you don't get the stats and all that sort of thing. Whereas if you pay, like, we're both on Spreaker, we pay X amount, but then you get the customer service. If something thingy doesn't work, you can email them, you can get a reply within like an hour or two, as I've had before. There's numerous deals, you get your stats, you essentially get it's a way for you to get yourself out there, because it's a bit like Twitter where people follow you and you can follow people, and then they can discover your show that way, things like that.
Oh yeah, social media.
But then it also like sorts out stuff like your RSS feed for you, so you can literally just import that over to iTunes and Google Play, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook.
It pretty much shoves it anywhere. Anywhere that can pick up an RSS feed can basically pick up your podcast, which is when we say, "Oh, good podcast catchers out there." Most places, if you can get your podcast on iTunes or Apple Pay or Play or whatever the fuck it's called nowadays, you basically can get it anywhere, essentially.
As when we got our confirmation that we were going to go on iTunes, what was that saying? I said, "Oh, it's like going on BBC 4 onto BBC 1 prime time."
Pretty much. I mean, another way I put it is, it's gone from the stock room, being in the stock room and put in the shop window. You know, people can see you then, and you're more likely to grow. So obviously, you need to think about your RSS feed and where you think your podcast is going to go from your host. And sometimes you have to do manually set it up with places like Stitcher.
Yeah.
Sorry. Look at your actual where you can get it out to. It's like Stitcher, iTunes, Podbean, Google Play, iHeartRadio. Obviously, you're not going to go straight onto a network like Podcast One or something, because they're not going to be asked about some small time thing like. I don't ever see Lost Art going onto Podcast One or anything, because we're not big enough.
No.
It says you never know. Start low. Don't have high expectations. Once you've met your goal. Yeah, so think of your goal. Then, right, okay, what's your next step? Oh, I want to get here. Right, okay, work towards that. Don't go, start a podcast, 10,000 listeners. I want to be on iTunes. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to go and interview
be realistic is what you're trying to say, basically.
Yeah, Brian Blessed. Start low, work through, put your effort in, because you never know where you're going to be.
Because if you do end up, obviously thinking that podcasting is the game for you, you are going to have to grind your arse off. You are going to have to grind and work at it. I mean, we've been at it, what now? RAD alone, we've been a year and a half nearly.
Year and a half.
Yeah. We've had minimal growth, and I'm happy we have had a little bit of growth. This year, I'm hoping to obviously double. I'm going to try and double our listeners, which is going to take a lot of work.
Between the 5 of us, we'll get to that point and do it.
This is it. So hopefully, like I say, I'm going to get everyone to obviously double time, and hopefully we'll sort stuff out, and obviously we're going to grow. I'm also going to
what I want to do is say, if you do get your podcast up and going, this is a welcome invitation for you to come on the show.
Yes,
we'll help you. You help us. Simple as. Open invitation there for you to come on the show, advertise what you want to do, have a laugh with us for a couple hours, and then see where you are. That's all I can say.
Obviously, we're open to have a guest host anytime. I mean, Coxie, you've even done interviews, haven't you, mate?
Yeah, it's one of the most terrifying things I've ever done.
But it's your thing, mate. I mean, I've considered thinking about doing interviews, but at the end of the day, I think it's not my thing. It's not something I want to do. So,
I don't want to do interviews. I want to have a guest and then them just to chirp in their views, and then you have that conversation. Which is like us, we can go from bloody talking about Trump to how to take down Cybernet from Terminator in a space of 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's the gist of our show, though, isn't it?
People are more relaxed when you're sat around discussing something than you want to interview with someone else.
Yeah, there is that. It is much easier. But yeah, like I say, interviews is your end of the stick. But if that's something you want to do, obviously, it's a possibility. It's something else. Could also make your podcast a little bit more unique. So something along them lines. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that you could possibly think of when you're starting off podcasting. Obviously, we've covered our host. We've covered everything else. Basically, I think the only thing left to say on that is once you've got your topic, once you've got your little bits of equipment sorted, once you've realised what you want, where you're going to post it and where it's going to go to, once you've got your social media sorted and where you're going to promote and things like that, the only thing I can say is if things aren't going right straight away, don't give up and keep plugging away. End of the day, think of it as practice. And eventually, it's going to kick off. It will eventually. You'll get the odd listen. You're going to get this breakout show. You keep plugging away. You'll get a breakout show. I'm not saying that we have had our breakout show, because we haven't.
The best thing is, have fun with it.
Yeah, if you're having fun, who cares what listeners you get? End of the day. If you enjoy doing what you do, then fuck what anyone else thinks. If you're not being a complete arse, and you're spreading hate speech, which I don't condone, carry on. Honestly, carry on. Even if you're only getting one listener a week and it's your mum, keep doing it. If you enjoy doing it, keep doing it. And eventually, your joy of what you do will pass on to your listeners. All you need is one listener to pass the message on to say, just, listen to this show, tell me what you think. And if they like it, they'll pass it on, and eventually it'll get more and more listeners.
Yeah.
So it's just natural growth.
A thing to throw in there is something I've got along with the past few years, or something bit of a from a bit itself.
What's going on?
Someone's moving.
Sorry, it moved.
Vinnie Mac once said to someone somewhere, he's like, learn to eat shit and like the taste.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Same. Yeah, it's pretty much. The only thing I'm going to input into this as well, the worst critic is yourself.
Yes. Mm-hmm. This is why...
If someone says it's shit, take it on the chin. If you think it's shit, look to why you think it's shit, and then adjust it to how you think, this would be better if I did this. This would be better if I did...
Which is why RAD now exists, because... when we were doing WrestleBox, I mean, you guys could tell it was taking its toll on me work-wise. With the
it was taking its toll on everyone.
it was taking the soul of everybody because it was just that much hard work. It wasn't fun to do anymore. So, which is why I stopped. I thought, right, what can I do? Obviously, I didn't want to get out of the podcasting because I enjoyed podcasting. It was the subject matter that was the issue. And one day, it sounds daft, literally. I think I've told this story before. I was stood in the shower and I was just thinking, because obviously you're on your own, aren't you? There's nothing around you. You're just in the shower.
Water, a bath, toilet.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I was just in the shower, I was just thinking, and I just came up with, I just wanted to, so I came up with the idea of, I'll just show away, we just talk shite, and talk about whatever the hell we want. No restrictions on topic, no restrictions on time. Just do what we want to do, and that's the end of it.
You'll find that some episodes you feel like, this is a ball ache. Record it, edit it, put it on there. Next episode. Holy shit, I've just had the greatest time of my life. This was the best podcast I've ever done. Record it, post it. Yeah, don't worry about it.
This is it. Just record and just post. It's content in the end of the day. But like I say, when I was in the shower, I was listening, thinking ideas for the show, came up with a name, I said, right, look, it's random, and I want discussion. So obviously, random discussion. What word can I put in? What can I put in the middle of there, which would actually make like an abbreviation, which would actually make a word? I thought, there's a term random ass, isn't there? With something that's just completely random. So random ass discussion. Perfect. Rad. And Rad was born in a shower. But yes, we're going to anyway. Like I say, I think I'm pretty much basically I'm going to wrap things up by basically saying
not because of any I am from all there. Not because of an inconspicuous I am from out there, so wrap it up.
No, there's no inconspicuous, but I was thinking about it's getting pretty late, so I think we may need to start wrapping up anyway.
Yeah, I need a shit, and I've got some sewing to do.
He's got a turtle head poking out.
I've got sewing to do.
He's sewing the back of his underpants up because there's a turtle head poking out.
No, I on a Sunday I do helping out in a disabled charity swimming class. So I'm up first thing in the morning doing that.
Fair dues then. I was going to get the piss out of you, but I thought on that note I'm not going to bother. But yeah, just to close up on that. So like basically, if you want to start a podcast, get cheap equipment to begin with, just to see if it's a game for you. We didn't mention software. Audacity is probably your best bet if you're starting out. I use now Spreaker Studio, which is obviously I can go straight live from it, but that's what I choose to do because it means I don't have to edit. Basically,
because you're a lazy bastard.
Because I'm a lazy bastard, yes. Other than that, basically, like I say, find your host, a host that you're happy with, update your social media, link it all up, and just keep plugging away and just keep practicing. That's all I can really say on it, really. Coxie, anything you want to add on that?
Use free music.
Use free music. Don't use actual music. You will get hammered. Somehow I haven't, because last year I used Christmas by Corey Taylor and didn't get copyright flagged, but Coxie did.
I got flagged for something else. It was
that's true. Yeah, it was the music in the radio in the background, and it was our first ever pubcast, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't. Don't know how.
Because we're awesome.
Awesome. So yeah, on that note, I think we'll wrap up. Hope that answered your questions anyway, Anthony, and if you're listening, Harvey. I hope that answered some questions for you. I'm going to go get some paracetamol.
Man up, princess.
And on a what?
Man up, princess.
Man up, princess. I just don't do cold. Colds don't like me. But at least I turned up. And on that note, I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure as usual. Thank you guys.
Cheers.
So yeah, I've been Paul the Hat Guy Flinders.
I've been Al Morrison.
I've been Coxie.
And you have been listening to us. Thank you and good night.
Take a walk down by the sea, picking up colored shells in the sand. See a girl I want Want to know how it makes you feel. The word your restless wings can't find.
This podcast is part of BritPod Scene, an independent network of uniquely British podcasts that's always growing. Check out BritPodScene.com or BritPod Scene on Twitter to find out more.